Hey, and welcome to Game Talk episode 100. I'm your host, Amamion, and today is very special because I'm joined in person by Connor.
Hey, guys.
And Mike.
Hello.
And it just happened to work out that for episode 100, we're all in Morgantown. We're all sitting at the same table right now looking at each other. And I think this is the first live episode we've done for at least 2, maybe 3 years.
It's also the first live episode where we've been facing each other, which is weird. Now that I think
weird.
about
I
it,
don't like
this. Before, when it was live, we were like in the university studio, and we were all sort of like facing the setup.
Yeah.
And now this is basically just a conversation. We've got the mic on the table, and we're just sort of chilling on the table, which is cool. But yeah, for episode 100, we went through a bunch of ideas, and what we settled on is our top games that influenced our taste over the years. And that seemed like an appropriate topic for episode 100. I got really ambitious. I wanted to do 33 each, so we had 100 games, but we'd be here for like 6 hours if we did that.
And I fought really hard against that.
I couldn't do it.
My co-hosts are more pragmatic. They're probably right, like we probably couldn't pull that off. But we are going to do 10 games each, and I guess no more delay because it's going to be a pretty long episode as is. I'll get us started. And for me, I don't know about you two, but for me, it's not going to be in any particular order because I would die before I could rank these games. So I'm just going to start with the order they're on my phone, which the first one is going to be Uncharted Drake's Fortune. So Uncharted Drake's Fortune, as everyone who listens to this know, I love Uncharted. It's probably my favorite PlayStation franchise. And Uncharted Drake's Fortune was really the first PlayStation game that really sort of ushered in the new era of PlayStation, as I'd call it, right? So with like PlayStation 3, when Uncharted came out, right, like I was familiar with Naughty Dog. I had played Jak and Daxter. I was aware of Crash Bandicoot. And I didn't know anything about Uncharted, right? Like this was just one of those magical moments that is so rare now in video games where you can like walk into a store, see a game that looks interesting and just pick it up. Right, because like back then, I wasn't constantly online getting news about games like every minute or so. But like, yeah, I remember. Now. Yeah, it's
spoiled.
A dearth of riches.
We can now see the dark underbelly too.
But no, yeah, like back then, I was a young kid. I walked into the GameStop and I saw Uncharted Drake's Fortune, and I was just like, I don't know what Uncharted is, and it was just like Drake. Face or his back to the camera with like a shotgun. So it wasn't
not a super exciting game case.
Yeah, it wasn't an attractive like case or anything like that. But then I saw Naughty Dog in the bottom right corner. I was like, hey, these are the guys that did Jak and Daxter. Like I'll totally try this. And I played it, and I just fell in love. And like if someone plays Uncharted Drake's Fortune today in 2021, it's probably pretty bad. Honestly, it's like
I don't know if it's bad, but I was gonna say like Uncharted almost made my list. It was very close.
No,
but I was not gonna pick Uncharted 1 because Uncharted 1 is like the black sheep of the franchise almost, in that it's not nearly as cinematic as the others.
So I have my...
It's the pace setter, really.
Yeah, I have my reasons for picking Uncharted 1. It's Uncharted 1, similar to, like the whole Demon Souls, Dark Souls argument. Dark Souls is the popular one, but Demon Souls is the one that started it, right? Like, Uncharted was the one that started this whole era of, like, cinematic, narrative, third-person action games that Sony is basically... That's their bread and butter nowadays.
Yeah, that's their brand.
And Uncharted was the kickstart of all of that. So I think, when you think of games like Uncharted's 2, 3, and 4, yes, they're way better in pretty much every single way. You think of games like The Last of Us 1 and 2. You think of even games like, God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn. Obviously, they don't fall as neatly into that box as, the Naughty Dog games. But I would argue that Uncharted Drake's Fortune had an impact on all of those games.
Oh, definitely. Every first-party Sony game that's come out since Uncharted has been touched by it, I feel like.
And I think you can very clearly, if you're a Sony fan and you think back on their history, you can very clearly see two eras, like pre-Uncharted and post-Uncharted. At least to me, that's how I look at it. So Uncharted Drake's Fortune, again, it was one of those games where, like, I've said this before on the podcast, like, my friends would just come over and we'd hit play on, like, the list of cutscenes, because, like, back then games could still, some games still have that, right? Like, I don't think games do that anymore, which is probably rare. For the best, honestly, because you should play the game.
Yeah.
But, like, back then, cinematic games were a new thing. Yeah. Right? Like, so it was a very...
Kojima.
Well, okay, minus Kojima. But it was a very sort of novel thing to be like, hey, it's basically like watching an action movie. Let's just watch these cutscenes. And, like, it was a fun thing to do.
Yeah, Kojima and like Devil May Cry are kind of the prototype for this, but I would say Uncharted was the first time it really.
Yeah,
Uncharted brought the era of cutscenes, long cutscenes, and then Kojima looked at it
and fell in love.
Let's make a movie.
Let's make several 2-hour-long cutscenes in this video game. But no, I've played through Uncharted Drake's Fortune God knows how many times.
Really? I've played it, but I only played it. I played Uncharted 2 and 3 a bunch, but I've only played Uncharted 1 time.
Until Uncharted 2 came out, right? Like,
you played it a bunch before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Once Uncharted 2 came out, it was game over. Like, I was never going to touch Uncharted 1 again,
it's
right?
very difficult to
But, like,
return
at
to.
the time, it was such a cool new thing. And, like, again, like, today, it's very difficult to return back to because they've improved that formula so much. But, like, back in the day, I remember replaying Uncharted over and over and over again and just, never getting tired of it. So I feel like that has a well-deserved spot on my list.
Yeah, you want to go next, Mike?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. So my one of the games that really defined me was Command & Conquer Red Alert. I'm going to say 1 and 2 because they're one contiguous entity in my mind.
Yeah.
But it was really my first RTS that I ever played, and so it holds a soft spot.
How long ago was this?
I was a kid.
Okay. Some of mine are actually pretty recent, but
yeah, no, there's some that are pretty recent. But this is like my first PC running Red Alert and trying not to be drowned alive by dogs.
Yeah,
because that game was difficult.
It is.
I don't know. I went back and played it a couple years ago, and I forgot how hard it was.
Yeah, I tried it in middle school and I bounced off of it. It was too hard for me.
Somehow I managed to figure it out when I was 7 years old or something, but today my brain just can't process it.
It's funny people say that, but like kids pick up on games so quickly. They're like sponges.
This is tangential, but like a lot of chess grandmasters, like they were grandmasters by the time they were like 12 years old. Like
it's all downhill from there.
Yeah,
you hit that
when the pattern recognition is strong.
Yeah, you get that spongy brain. It's all done. But yeah, I have a strong attraction to that aesthetic of, oh god. Yeah, how outrageous can we make warfare, but still maintain like the semblance of whatever?
Yeah,
because Red Alert 2 had big airships that dropped large amounts of bombs that were really slow.
Yeah,
and you could hear those things deploy across the map.
Yeah.
When did it come out?
Red Alert 1? 90s somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, I must have played a remake or a...
they did come out with a remaster.
Okay, remaster must be what I played.
Couple years.
Okay. I think it was longer ago than that.
The soundtrack's also really good. I still listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll go next. I just thought I'd start on the first game I ever played, which was Super Mario World.
Okay.
Which, for sure, like, I'm a platformer guy now. I love all platformers. I love Mario games. I play a lot of Super NES style platformers. Super Mario World, like... It really had a lot of, like, the bread and butter for gaming for me, which was, like, secrets and for me at the time, difficult platforming and, like, colorful worlds and everything. That's still all pretty important to me today. Have you finally played Super Mario World recently, right, Ahmed?
Yeah.
The game slaps.
It didn't age.
No, it plays exactly as well today as it did when it came out, which is... kind of incredible.
It's funny. It's like Nintendo really figured something out in the Super NES era.
Yeah.
Because it's just like so many of those games.
It's something that they haven't managed to capture since, really.
Yeah, the only thing about those games that really aged is the user interface. Like, I was playing F-Zero a couple weeks ago, and the UI is terrible and, like, almost unusably bad. But then once you actually get into the game... it all just makes sense, and it's very fun.
Game design-wise, the games like Super Mario World, Link to the Past, they could have come out today, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, Super Mario World, they had the save battery and everything. I think it was battery-powered still. And yeah, you could save, you could walk, And that was, like, one of those games that took me years to beat. And, like, now you can beat it in an hour, like, casually. If you're a speedrunner, it's a lot less than that.
Yeah. Speedrunners ruin everything.
But casually, as a kid, I learned how to, like, take the shortcut through the lake to get into Star World and beat the game in, like, an hour or whatever.
Speedrunners make every kid feel inadequate, or every adult feel inadequate, that they couldn't beat the game as a kid, and then someone beats it in 20 minutes.
But yeah, Super Mario World, it definitely, like, put me down the path to, like, love games like Super Meat Boy and, like... other, more modern platformers, Messenger, stuff like that. Obviously more mechanically complex, but
Yeah, I guess you picked Super Mario World specifically because it was your first.
Yeah, I distinctly
I was gonna say,
remember.
what about Super Mario Bros. 3? I know you're a big fan.
Yeah, so Super Mario World won this round because it was my first game that I ever played. I distinctly remember, I was born in 96, so like the N64 and Super Mario 64 were out already, but I was like 2 or 3 years old or something. And one of my dad's best friend had lent us, I thought given us at the time, I was very upset when we had to return it, but he had lent us his Super Nintendo and a copy of Super Mario World and Star Fox. And I was a kid, so I thought the animal characters were fun. I wanted to play Star Fox first, but the cartridge would not load, so Super Mario World won out. And I didn't play Star Fox for another couple hours.
You saw that dinosaur, the man in the overalls, and a dinosaur, and you're like, I want the animals.
I wanted Star Fox, but we couldn't get it to work. But yeah, Super Mario. So we could be in a very different place now. Had that night gone differently.
Yeah, you could be like me and be into playing games.
But yeah, it's a weirdly vivid memory for how young I was.
Man.
Yeah.
You play one arcade flight sim, and all of a sudden you got to play them all. I played Project Wingman, and I'm about to take a deep dive.
Did you play like Star Fox when you were super young?
I did actually.
Okay, yeah.
That's where it all started. I'm not spoiling anything, but it all started somewhere else on the list.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You good?
So yeah. Go ahead, Eamon.
Okay, so let me consult. We've all got our phones, and we've written these down. Which, by the way, just interjecting here, for me, it killed me to reduce this to 10 games.
Yeah.
Like, it was... I still feel like we're going to finish recording, and I'm going to instantly regret all my choices.
Yeah.
Like, I could easily do that. But the next game on my list is Pokémon Ruby. So...
that is also on my list.
No way.
Yeah, Pokemon Ruby specifically.
Wow. Okay,
Right,
I guess we can both chat about it.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of banking on us all having 10 unique games, but it happens.
Yeah.
But like, okay, I'm interested to hear Ruby specifically because like I would have thought that
it's my first Pokemon game.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
but also like. The reason I made the list is because like it was probably my first like really social gaming experience because what other game were kids talking about at school and trading and like the legends about the Reggies in that game and stuff going around the playground and grinding to try to get. I never did beat the Elite Four in Pokemon Ruby, by the way.
Man, this is what I get for being the weird kid. Everyone just looked at me as like he doesn't play Pokemon.
I mean,
I didn't.
Yeah, it was like if you like plotted out on a graph, right? Like you were cool for playing Pokemon, and then when you hit middle school, you were really lame for playing Pokemon. And I feel like late high school, you were cool again for playing Pokemon.
No, in my school, it was like
parabola.
5th and 6th grade, you were lame for it.
Yeah.
7th grade rolls around, Pokemon Soul Silver came out. Everybody was suddenly super into it again. Everybody had the Pokewalkers in their pocket all the time and stuff.
Those Pokewalkers. You knew.
Yeah.
It was like a badge of honor.
Yeah. Had your notch-eared Pichu or whatever. Yeah.
It's funny because like I thought about like when I was making this list, I was like, okay, a Pokemon game has to be on here.
Absolutely, yeah, same.
And then I was like, okay, obviously the obvious choice is Pokemon Red or Blue, right? And like it was my first Pokemon game, obviously, and so it's a very strong impression.
Red or Blue was?
Yeah, Red was.
Okay.
And obviously I loved it, and obviously it kicked off a cultural wave that is still engulfing all of us today.
Yeah. I spend a lot of time like talking down on Pokemon on this show, but it's like, well, I'm not, but
yeah, I stopped.
Largely, I talk bad about Pokemon because like it peaked. So like, Pokemon Ruby maybe not the best example, but like Emerald, Soul Silver, those games like were just amazing, and it's been kind of downhill from there in my opinion.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I feel like if you talk to different age groups, they'll all have like a different point of like, this is where Pokemon peaked. This is where Pokemon.
I don't think anybody will say Pokemon peaked after Black and White 2. I don't think anybody will tell you that.
Maybe not 2, but I bet there are Black and White stands.
I bet there are. Yeah.
Let's Go Pikachu, best Pokemon game.
Yeah. But it's interesting because like I had played Red and Blue, loved it. But for whatever reason, never played Gold and Silver.
Really?
I skipped Gold and Silver. And then, I guess it was just that period of, like, I was discovering other games and stuff like that. But then Ruby and Sapphire came out and was like, okay, I want to try and get back into Pokemon. And it really, captured me in a way that I feel like even Red and Blue didn't. Like, Red and Blue introduced me to Pokemon, but I feel like Ruby and Sapphire made me fall in love with it. Like,
yeah.
And it was like a combination of things. Like you said, like, I think Ruby and Sapphire more than the other games, especially considering when they came out. Like, the internet wasn't, like, everywhere, right? But, like, and it really had that mystique of, like, oh, did you find this secret? Okay, the 3 Reggie Pokemon, like, did you figure out the mystery of how to get those? And, like,
do you know how to read Braille?
Yeah.
No, that's I was not I was in kindergarten, I think. So, do you know how to read? Was a problem. Like, I could read a little bit, but I remember being very confused because I couldn't figure out how to catch Pokemon. Pokemon Ruby.
Wow, I'm glad they put that tutorial in there for people like you then at the beginning.
Yeah, no, I did figure it out before I got to that tutorial.
Okay, good.
I really wanted a Zigzagoon.
More power
for whatever reason. But that was like the first game I bought on peer pressure because like kids at school were talking about Pokemon. I'd seen the cartoon and everything, and I was walking through Sam's with my mom, and I saw it on display, and I was like, I have to have this.
Yeah. And like and another huge thing for me was like the whole secret base thing. Like I remember like going to school, bringing my link cable, hooking like other Game Boys together, and like downloading my friends' secret bases and trying to go out in the world and find them.
I didn't know that was a thing until after I had like I ran into a friend's secret base totally by coincidence. And I was like, what?
It was such a mind blowing. It was such a cool thing at the time, and it always kind of pained me after Gen 3 that I feel like they really sort of dropped the ball on the secret base idea. Like,
they did it in Gen 4.
They did it, but it wasn't as good. I feel like it didn't have the same.
I was gonna say that they perfected it in Gen 4.
Okay, I don't know if I agree with that, but also, Gen 3 had such a strong impact on me. I could just be, rose-tinted glasses, but, like, everything from, like, I think the starters were, obviously, no starter will be as iconic as Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charmander, but, like, they're probably, like, the second best, honestly.
Squirtle Squad.
If you consider, like, all the different starters, and, like...
I think Gen 3 is the only one where I like all 3 starters, I think, like, equally.
Yeah.
It's always a really hard choice for me when I replay.
Yeah, it's a real hard choice. I'm trying to think.
Because Trico was my first.
They none of them look bad.
Torchic and Mudkip, they're all great. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
Mudkip's a hero.
And then like obviously like Emerald was like the perfected version of that game, which still probably has the best post game content of not every Pokemon game.
Soul Silver and
it's
Heart Gold are the only one that would beat Emerald.
Leaf Green has pretty good post game as well. I think,
true.
but
it's
up there. Yeah. And Ruby, I think, still to this day, the Pokemon game that has had the biggest impact on me, and probably the reason I still play Pokemon to this day.
Ruby's also, like, the first time Pokemon really had a lot going on in the way of story. They had the eco-terrorist organizations.
And I was too young at the time to really care about all of that, but...
I didn't see the themes and all, but I thought it was incredible. Like, I remember getting to Setopolis and, like, the world ending because Groudon is, like... using Sunny Day or whatever.
Groudon's just existing.
Yeah.
What a game.
It was a great game, yeah. And the legendaries were all really cool, like encountering Rayquaza on top of the tower and battling him after everything and catching him. And...
I remember getting swept by my buddy John, had a level 100 Blaziken, also named John, and he would just sweep my team no matter who I had, because I, as a kid, was not going to grind.
Yeah.
So I was not going to have a level 100.
Yeah.
I couldn't even beat the Elite Four. I've to this day never beaten the Elite Four in Ruby. I went and did it. I did it in Emerald.
Okay.
But never in Ruby. And there's not, you don't get a lot in Ruby. Emerald, you get the Battle Frontier and all. Ruby, it was just the Battle Tower.
And we haven't even mentioned, like, this is where Pokemon introduced berries, which are still a core mechanic today in Pokemon. Mm-hmm. And this is where Pokemon introduced contests, which is
introduced and then got rid of. They didn't.
And
make
then
it to
kind of
other...
brought back.
Oh no, they were in Gen 4, weren't they?
Yeah. But, like, I think, Gen 1 was the start. Gen 2 was, like, honing the formula. And then Gen 3 is where they really sort of, like, experimented with new mechanics and stuff like that. And, I don't know. I think it's just another reason why Gen 3 is so excellent. And is probably my favorite.
Gen 3 also introduced abilities.
Yeah, it did.
It was... I thought as a kid, I didn't know... The physical special split wasn't until Gen 4. No. And the physical special split is one of the most important things Pokemon ever did.
Well, was it Gen 4 or was it Gen 5?
It was Diamond and Pearl. It was the first time. But yeah, I mean, I still, like, if I'm going to play a Pokemon game, it's going to be Emerald probably. But, like, Ruby, like, if I'm thinking of a Pokemon game, Like I'm thinking of that red cartridge in my Game Boy.
Ruby will always have that.
It has that,
yeah.
and just to say, Ruby is probably the best looking Game Boy cartridge.
Yeah.
That beautiful red
color, yeah.
And my best friend as a kid had Sapphire, and that was nice. So we could get. I remember I didn't know that there were exclusive Pokemon. So like he caught a Sableye.
Sableye was like, cool. I was jealous of Sableye.
I remember as a kid I was like, I have never seen this before in my life. How rare is this Pokemon? I really wanted to Sableye, and it was like super common. It was just only in Sapphire. I looked for hours because I didn't want to trade.
And I guess like we had Zangoose, right?
Maybe.
Or something like that. And then they had Seviper in Sapphire.
Yeah.
Solrock, Lunatone, and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh my god, double battles.
Were introduced in Ruby. Yeah, Ruby Sapphire was the introduction of many core Pokemon mechanics.
Oh my god, and Pokemon Coliseum was like tie-in with
loved it.
What a generation.
Yeah. I've convinced myself even more than now that we're talking about that. Ruby is hands down my favorite. Favorite generation.
It's a very good video game. Sad story. I gave away my copy of Pokemon Ruby to a friend for his birthday because I had Emerald. And I didn't think I would want Ruby anymore. And I never have replaced it.
Well, I mean, I guess that's fair, right? Emerald is just Ruby, but better. But
yeah, but...
That nostalgia, though.
The nostalgia. Yeah. And also, I left that copy of Emerald in an Olive Garden. I got another one, but I've never beaten it again.
Yeah. I also lost my copy of Emerald, which is pretty sad. I don't know what happened to it.
I lost my copy of Leaf Green. It's
so sad. Green cartridge. You go to an Olive Garden with a green cartridge, you're asking for trouble. It gets set on a napkin, and it's gone forever.
Mine was not lost in an Olive Garden. It was lost in a move.
Where Leaf Green is concerned, I don't know how or why, but one of my friends really wanted me to buy a copy of Leaf Green.
Really?
But it was like a sketch bootleg copy of Leaf Green.
Really?
Now that I remember, like recent? Leaf was No, this was like when I was a kid. Okay. Leaf Green was like first came out. Leaf was spelled like Leef.
Reproduction Pokemon cards have always been rampant. I think it's one of the reasons old Pokemon games are still so expensive, if they're legit, is because it's kind of hard to tell which are repro.
And like I played it and it was just like, this is weird and not Pokemon. But then I got the actual Leaf Green, and that's probably, now that I'm speaking it out loud, my second favorite Pokemon game after Ruby Sapphire. I loved Leaf Green.
Yeah.
Which, is still in that sort of Gen 3 family, actually.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that is still Gen 3.
That was the first Pokemon remake.
I played Fire Red, but I still have my copy of Fire Red as well. Fantastic
time to be into Pokemon. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I never did figure out how to trade between Emerald and Fire Red, though. You had to,
Wasn't it as simple as Link Cable?
No, you had to do something special. You had to do post-game stuff in Fire Red.
You had to go through the numbered islands.
Oh yeah, the islands are so good. But anyways, I don't know. I feel like we've talked enough about Pokemon.
I agree.
Mike?
Yeah. All right, next up on my list is The Elder Scrolls 4, actually.
That was also on my list.
This was a strong contender for mine, but it didn't make it.
I can swap to the other option on this number.
No, you guys should just tag team it.
Yeah, let's...
But The Elder Scrolls 4 was my first Bethesda RPG.
Mine too.
Mine too.
So it's one of those that I have a lot of fond memories of watching my dad play and also playing.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't my dad. It was one of my older friends growing up, but yeah.
And it's one of those games that just hits. It still looks good to this day, too.
It's one of those games that proved that, Bethesda is a force to be reckoned with.
Bethesda's got it.
Even though they kind of fumbled the ball, because of those early games, they will forever be cemented in gaming history as a force to be reckoned with. Yeah,
might be a lot of people's favorite.
Yeah,
Oblivion was the first one a kid could play, though. I feel like
Oblivion was the first one that was accessible.
So Oblivion. So I have a couple stories here. So I think Oblivion was the first M-rated game I've ever played.
Fun fact about Oblivion: it was not rated M at launch.
It wasn't. I remember they changed it.
I had a friend who had a rated T copy, which is how I was able to get it, because my mom would not let me play rated M games.
But it was funny. So, when I was really young, still in elementary school, I remember going over to my friend Garrett's house and just watching him play Morrowind on his PC. And I was just like, what is this? I've never seen anything like this. I think that was the first-person game I've ever seen,
Yeah, I think it was for me, too.
Yeah, so, it was just a whole new...
The level of immersion.
...experience, for video games for me.
I'd seen Metroid Prime. Never mind.
Yeah, I would... Yeah. First time seeing a first-person game, this incredible fantasy setting. I've never seen anything like Morrowind before in my life. And I remember going home and be like, oh my god, how do I get this game? I need to research this game. Obviously, parents wouldn't let me get Morrowind, but, by the time Oblivion rolled around, I was old enough, and I just kept remembering that experience of going to my friend's house and watching him play Morrowind, and I was like, I've got to play this game. And I got it, and it was, it blew me away. Like, I had never played a game like it before. I still think Oblivion was probably my first FPS, or not, first-person game, not FPS, but like, and it was just, it created this level of immersion that made me, this is what made me love the first-person style of game, honestly.
It's what gave me my love for Bethesda RPGs at that point.
Yeah.
Because it was probably one of the best ones they released.
Yeah, I would still pick Oblivion over any other Bethesda game.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Oblivion's just
the writing. The writing, the charm, the potato faces.
The guild side quests, I feel like, were way better.
The only guild that sucked was the Mages Guild.
Yeah, I never did it. The
Mages Guild in Skyrim was pretty good, but like Thieves Guild and Assassin's Guild in Oblivion, incredible
You
quests.
steal an Elder Scroll.
Yeah, and you get the Boots of Spring-Heeled Jack, which is like the most iconic item in gaming.
That's nuts. Like, sure, in Skyrim you kill an emperor, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole concept of like Oblivion gates, where you basically like,
oh my god, yeah,
it was so metal and like
Doomslayer.
Yeah, you basically enter Doom.
Yeah, the whole
that was Doom before Doom.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know what you mean.
Before Bethesda
before 2016 Doom.
Yeah, before 2016 Doom. Yeah.
But yeah, Oblivion was a special game, and I was kind of surprised. I was like, no one's gonna pick Oblivion, and here I'm sitting across both of you, and you're like, Connor almost put it on your list, and Mike, you did put it on.
Oh yeah, it was either that or Fallout 3.
Yeah,
I'm glad you picked Oblivion.
Kind of lumped them together in my mind.
No, it's incredibly special game. Like I feel like it's on. You can play it on Xbox via back compat now, right? Like, and it's like Series X optimized or whatever. So it's probably going to be like 60 FPS at least, and like
I could just play it on my PC.
Yeah,
it still runs perfectly well on PCs, which is surprising.
It ran really well on my pretty bad PC that I played it on first.
Fallout 3 barely runs, and Oblivion's like still runs. Older than Fallout 3,
dude.
Yeah, I don't know if like Bethesda's kind of issues started with Fallout 3 and Skyrim.
Fallout 3's problem was they decided to use the cursed Games for Windows Live.
Yeah. No,
making it not launch on any PC past Windows 7.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm like hearing the town music from Oblivion playing in my head. Like the one that people use in the memes about Oblivion and PCs.
I'm hearing it. I'm hearing it. It's there.
Iconic soundtrack.
Yeah. The soundtrack was great.
And I love it because, like, you know, obviously Skyrim is the one that blew up, right? Like, the mainstream one, everyone knows what Skyrim is. But
that's
like,
the one where everyone in high school was going, Fusro Da, and I took an arrow to the knee.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
No one talked about Oblivion.
I taught archery during the arrow to the knee craze.
No.
Life was not good.
Yeah.
Were people sticking arrows in their knees?
No, we had a very strict rule about making those jokes at the archery range. It was we had a one strike policy.
Yeah.
Don't make arrow in the knee jokes.
God, Oblivion. I have a fun story about Oblivion too. I used to like. I had a friend who also had Oblivion, but he liked to come over and play it because I had the Shivering Isles DLC, which is still one of the best DLC ever made.
Oh yeah.
Which is funny because Oblivion also had horse armor. But
right, I remember
horse armor was forward looking. it was really, forward looking.
That's really good.
They knew. They do that in 10, 15 years.
People will pay for this.
Yeah. Paying for horse armor.
Got me good, Mike. But yeah, I never slept in Oblivion, which was how you level up. And I just never did it.
That took me a while to figure out.
My friend would get so mad at me. He'd be like, "Why have you not slept? You have so many stats." Like,
so much.
I would level up like 20 times or whatever because I had just not slept in so long.
Oh, the attribute gain.
I had to be up at night. I was a vampire.
God, yeah, you could become a vampire.
See, I have a funny story about vampires. A vampire actually ended my run through Shivering Isles.
Oh no!
Because if you autosave while you're taking sun damage, the save corrupts.
Oh man!
Oh.
I had not saved for 6 or 7 hours at this point. Like I was all the way done.
Oh no!
The final battle of Shivering Isles.
I slapped F5 constantly in that game. And that's a quick save button for the non-PC gamers in the crowd.
And the worst part, this was on Xbox, so I couldn't get a mod to fix the problem.
Yeah. No, there's like one tiny story in Oblivion that I'll never like forget. It was like Dawnbreaker and Night. Well, it was a sword that you could find in the Shivering Isles that like you had to defeat it. Yeah, Duskfang and Dawnbreaker, I think.
Dawnfang
and Duskfang. Okay. Yeah, Dawnbreaker was a DLC for Skyrim. But yeah, you had to like feed it souls all the time, and I was like, oh my god, this sword makes me a god.
Yeah.
And then you get Umbra and it's all over.
And plus, like, I don't know if we touched on this, but like, just the role playing experience in Oblivion, and it was just immense. Especially because that was like probably the first. Yeah, it was the first Western RPG I'd ever played. I think
It's the first
now
one
that I think back on it, yeah.
To make yourself poop your pants.
I've never modded Oblivion, but I did.
My sister did.
Yeah.
She did add a mod that made her crap her pants.
Of course.
She told me a story about it. She's like, yeah, I downloaded this mod, and then my character crapped himself.
It's on brand.
Yeah.
I do remember. I always like to play an Argonian in Elder Scrolls games.
Argonians are cool.
And it was not worth doing in Skyrim at all. In my opinion, but in Oblivion there was actually water sometimes, and so
you fight
could,
underwater.
Yeah, so you could lure people underwater and drown them, and I did it all the time.
I remember I'd always go Dark Elf just because edgy me thought that was cool.
See, Oblivion always had the fun bugs too, like the paintbrushes, the item duplication glitch.
I don't know any of those.
Oh, paintbrushes didn't have any collision model.
Wow.
So they just float. They weren't affected by physics.
See, this is back when the Bethesda jank was endearing rather than like frustrating.
Yeah, you literally use them to skip to
because
the final boss.
we've said it before. No one made games like this back in the day except for Bethesda.
No.
There was
even
BioWare. You could argue BioWare, but
there was a fun bug where if you completed the Knights of the Nine quest line, all your animations would break.
Oh,
and I was a vampire.
That's a weird one.
So when I go to drink someone's blood, I just stand awkwardly over them. The animation played out in the background.
Dude, I feel like anybody who was playing that game at the age we were playing it had to be a vampire. It was so cool.
I definitely dabbled in vampirism.
The worst part about that animation bug is if you decided to sit in a chair, soft lock.
See, that must have all been console exclusive because I don't remember any of that.
It was you had to do a specific thing when you completed Knights of the Nine.
Okay.
Man,
not a lot of people did that.
I want to play Oblivion now.
Really? I don't know if I could go back to it. I've been trying to play Morrowind, but
Morrowind's just not. Morrowind's a trap. Don't do it.
Morrowind is difficult to get into.
I literally got lost in Vivek for a solid hour because me and a friend were playing a co-op.
Oh, it has a co-op mod?
It has an online mod, yes.
That's interesting. I might try that.
I literally make it out of Vivek, make it a little bit. Because of the way the mod works, all these assassins are everywhere. I die.
Yeah.
I'm outside Vivek. I die again. Back in Vivek, I'm done.
I will say that
more.
there is nothing in Oblivion quite like that moment in Morrowind where a dude just falls out of the sky right in front of you and you check his pockets and there's a high jump scroll in it and it's a trap. Yeah. And if you use the scroll, you will also die of fall damage because it launches you into the air.
God, what a game.
What a game.
Yeah. I guess I'm up next again.
Yeah.
I guess since Ahmed already said it, I'll say Super Mario Bros. 3.
Okay.
I was going to space them out a little bit, but since I've kind of joined in on the others, Super Mario Bros. 3 I include because I actually didn't play... Or I played this game on Game Boy Advance as a kid, but I played the vastly inferior Game Boy Advance port, which is a port of the Super NES port, which is also terrible.
Which is a port.
Yeah. So the original Super Mario Bros. 3 on NES I played for the first time my sophomore year of college. My roommate got out his NES and was playing it, and I was like, whoa, I didn't know NES games were good. And now I've talked about it on the show a little bit. This game got me into retro collecting and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, NES games are actually really good. They used these limitations and managed to break them in ways that were really, really, really cool. And
pretty soon Connor's gonna have a camera in a room full of retro games.
Yeah, I'll show you my room full of retro games later.
No.
I do have one. It's upstairs. I don't have a camera in there, but yeah, I
start ranting about the Atari Jaguar.
No, I only collect Nintendo mostly. I have every PlayStation except the PS5, but I don't have a ton of games on that. But anyway, yeah, Super Mario Bros. 3, I am more likely to go back and play Super Mario Bros. 3 than I am Super Mario World every day of the week. Largely because I like that it's playable in one sitting and stuff. I mean, I guess Mario World is too, but Super Mario Bros. 3, I get into a flow that I don't get in Super Mario World, kinda. And I generally like the power-ups more. There are more power-ups. There's just a lot in Super Mario Bros. 3. There's a lot of game in that cartridge. You have the frog suit. You can play through the whole game and never see the frog suit. Or I think the Hammer Bros. Suit was in that game. Maybe. And I've never actually seen it on that cartridge, I think, but I had an e-reader for my Game Boy Advance copy, and you could e-reader in power-ups and stuff.
E-reader?
Yeah, no, I was...
What a throwback.
I had an e-reader. I still have an e-reader. I think I have two, actually.
You're the only person in the world that still has an e-reader.
Me and Scott the Woz, probably.
So,
Stop Skeletons from
obviously,
fighting.
It's an interesting choice, right? Because like I think of your list and I'm like, so you have both Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World,
but for very different reasons.
So for very different ways they impacted your taste.
Yeah, because like Super Mario Bros. 3 did not get me into platformers. Like I was already very much into platformers. It also didn't get me into gaming, but it did get me into retro gaming. And like,
interesting, yeah.
I don't know that Super Mario Bros. 3 is even my favorite NES game. That might be Castlevania, but
respectable.
Which isn't going to be on my list. But it really opened that door for me. I remember I probably played my roommate's NES more than he did after I discovered this.
Yeah.
But I liked it so much. I sat down, I was speedrunning it for a bit, not like competitively or anything, but Super Mario Bros. 3 is really, really fun. And it, now I've got a collection of probably like 40 NES games or something. Like it's modest, but it's there.
Yeah.
Every once in a while I'll buy a few more. It's pretty fun. Fun hobby. I had to buy my own NES after this because I don't live with him anymore.
Yeah.
And I had to buy and repair my own NES, so that got me into some stuff. And I started collecting Super NES a little bit as well, and Game Boy.
It's crazy what one game can do to you, man. Like it can open up a whole world.
No, it really did. So I grew up watching The Angry Video Game Nerd, right? And I just kind of like I knew that the old Mario games weren't bad, but like watching that kind of got it into my head that like anything before the Super NES is not worth playing. And that's just not true at all.
And plenty of people today have that mindset too.
I will say you're a lot more likely to run into a game that sucks.
Anything after the PlayStation 5 is just not worth playing.
Exactly. A lot of people have that mindset. Yeah. So Connor's cat has climbed to the top of his
I really
PC
don't like
tower.
her up there. I'm gonna take care of
So he's gonna address that.
Our fourth host.
But so I guess I can. Connor, are you finished with yours?
Yeah, Super Mario Bros. 3. I think I'm good.
So this is probably the most boring pick that is going to come out of all of our lists today, but I have to mention it: Dark Souls.
Yeah, very close to making my list.
So I have to mention it, and it's funny because so we've done a few like top lists, for various in various criteria, like what are our top 10 games of the decade, what are our top PlayStation 3 games. We've done episodes like this in the past. I think Dark Souls has made every single list for different reasons, right? And so, like we said at the beginning of the show, this isn't a list of our favorite games, right? This is a list of 10 games that have influenced our taste the most. Dark Souls makes that list for me, too. Dark Souls opened up a whole new avenue of games. And I'm not even talking about Souls-like games, right? Mm-hmm. Like, Dark Souls, to me, was like the first... Like, I knew going in... I knew very little going in, but very quickly I discovered, this is not like other games, right? Like, this is going to present me with a challenge, and it's going to teach me how to overcome it. Then it's up to me to either, A, have the skill, or B, have the persistence to overcome it. And that mindset, mindset of, overcoming impossible odds is something I carried forward into other video game genres. It's something I carried forward into real life, to be quite honest, and for that reason, I think Dark Souls easily deserves a spot on this list, We say over and over again that Demon Souls was the first, but Dark Souls was the popular one. But Dark Souls was the one I played first, and is the one that basically changed how I look at video games. So Dark Souls had to be on my list, at the expense of many other things I would like to put on this list. But it had to be on there.
Yeah, Dark Souls was really close for me, but Dark Souls is more, instead of introducing those tastes to me, Dark Souls was more like a convergence of a lot of disparate things that I liked.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. So it didn't really turn me on to anything else, which is why it wasn't on my list, even though I considered it.
Yeah.
It was more environmental storytelling that I liked from Metroid, difficulty that I liked from roguelikes and stuff, and a bunch of different things that suddenly culminated together and did this masterpiece.
Yeah. And it's the impact of Dark Souls can't be...
Oh, no. I mean...
It's probably had...
It's the
more
Dark Souls
impact
of video
on
games.
any video game in the past decade plus than any other video game. It's changed gaming. Not hyperbole. That's just how it's been.
Yeah. How else are you going to describe a hard game other than it's the Dark Souls of blank?
Exactly.
It's also really rare. I've seen it a few times since Dark Souls where a game comes out and clearly influences a lot of games after it. But a lot of times those games are popular and they don't have the mainstream appeal that Dark Souls had. So Outer Wilds, for instance, I talk about it a lot, but Outer Wilds did its run before it even came out through a lot of developer communities at shows and stuff, and it won a lot of awards and everything before it was ever finished. And like you can see how it's influenced games recently. There've been a lot of games inspired by, Deathloop took some inspiration from it.
Yeah.
12 minutes, but and a lot of it probably. I don't know if it inspired Forgotten City at all, because the development times are a little hazy there. But yeah, you can see. But Outer Wilds does not have the popularity Dark Souls had, where like everybody and their mom played it and thought it was incredible.
And it was a huge paradigm shift, right? Like back in the day, and like even
that was at a time when games were getting very
Demon
easy.
Souls, no one bought Demon Souls.
Yeah.
Like everyone was like, "Yeah, no, that's like some weird hardcore."
It was
crap.
extremely niche. Yeah,
but
Demon
like for
Souls
some reason, Dark Souls caught fire.
Demon Souls had a big problem where like when it came west, a lot of people who wanted to play it here had already imported it because it was so niche. They just imported it.
Yeah, Demon Souls was one of those niche classics, and like obviously, like people were probably expecting Dark Souls to be the same, but.
No, they
for whatever reason, it
dude, that Bartholomew trailer, that's what did it for me. That is one of the best video game trailers I've ever seen.
It blew up and it changed gaming, especially where single player gaming is concerned. Obviously, lots of advancements have been made in multiplayer gaming and how that's changed for better or worse over the years. But
I think
Dark Souls has done wonders for single player gaming.
The most important change it had was that like that was at a time when like.
And even, well, I'm sorry to interrupt, but even multiplayer gaming, like the whole asynchronous, invasion style.
Yeah, that's in a lot of games.
That was pretty innovative, and that was Dark Souls.
And I do love that, yeah. But a lot of games were getting stupidly easy at that time. Like, tutorials were getting longer and longer, and like games were just holding your hand. And I don't know if Dark Souls is really the one that convinced everybody. But Dark Souls was definitely, like, the first moment where, like, people looked and were like, okay, gamers are competent, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, well, I don't know if I'll go that far.
Dark Souls definitely...
Don't say those words.
The gamer word.
Yeah, Dark Souls definitely changed that mindset. Like, games... Yeah, like, games...
You can trust your player a little bit,
yeah. Exactly. Games can be made to challenge the player unapologetically.
Yeah, AAA games, there were indies out there that were challenging.
Yeah.
But, Super Meat Boy and...
Yeah, but I don't, like, obviously we probably talk more about Dark Souls than any other game on the show, so like I don't want to belabor the point too much, but I did want to mention that it is on my list.
Yeah.
Mike, what about your next game?
Oh my! I've talked about the number 3 on my list a lot.
Yeah.
Warframe.
Yeah, I knew.
It was coming. It was on there.
Yeah.
I don't think any other free-to-play game has grabbed my attention quite as much as Warframe has over the last 8 years, 9 years, however long it's been out.
The longevity is kind of insane too.
Oh yeah,
it's like they keep pumping out good new stuff.
Yeah, they're about to release a new story DLC, which I'm excited for. That comes out in 5 days.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah, I saw an ad for it. It looked good.
Yeah, it's one of those games that redefined what free to play can be.
Yeah.
And
honestly,
I'm gonna blame it for games as a service as well.
Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily agree with the sentiment as much anymore. Destiny's made some improvements, but I used to believe that it was far and away a better implementation of games as a service than Destiny.
I mean,
it's funny though, because like Destiny and Warframe, from the beginning were compared like a lot.
Oh yeah.
But like at the beginning, Destiny was a $60 game.
Yeah.
Warframe was free, and it was basically doing similar things.
Yeah, very similar. And now Destiny 2's free to play, other than the DLC, which you get on Game Pass.
Right, but like Warframe was there from the beginning, doing things that Destiny was doing. So,
and Warframe has this combat that no matter how much you play it, it's still enjoyable.
Yeah,
just the flow. I can't.
It does. It has a flow,
and they keep updating it too, right?
Oh yeah, they keep adding more stuff.
Yeah, it has a flow.
More ways to be broken.
Other than Titanfall, I don't know if I've ever played a game that flows quite like Warframe.
Yeah, Warframe is also the first game that I've never managed to be able to successfully play drunk.
There's a lot going on.
I'll get like 2 beers in me, and the screen's too much.
Yeah,
too much to process.
Too much to process. Yeah. It doesn't take much to prevent me from playing Warframe. Like I've played Overwatch completely hammered and done well, but Warframe, nope, I'm lost. I don't know where I'm at.
Yeah.
It's just so fast paced, and I don't know. Maybe I just got good at it.
Yeah,
keeping track of it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like it.
It's a good video game.
It's a really good
I haven't played it in a long time.
I mean, the new update.
Yeah, I haven't installed on my Switch.
Hundreds of
it's on Switch.
It is on Switch, yeah.
I think Warframe is one of those games that's slowly approaching 1,000 hours for me on Steam.
Yeah.
Which is a mark that I haven't touched in a while.
Yeah. It's not one I've hit very many times.
I've got one.
Well,
Also, that is
Civ 5.
I don't have any 1,000-hour games. Yeah.
I
I have Untitled
Dota
Goose
2.
Game technically has 1,000 hours because my stepmom left it running on her
leave it on,
computer
yeah.
for
I was
weeks.
gonna say
Oh my
you
God.
played 1,000 hours of Untitled Goose
She
Game.
couldn't figure out
You're
why her
an
computer
actual
was so
psycho.
slow. Yeah. No, that's like a
The
4-hour
Goose-
game.
That's a Goose kind of thing.
Just replay it over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love replaying Goose Game. Actually, I've never finished Goose Game. Never mind.
Yeah.
It's pretty
But
good.
back to Warframe.
Warframe, yeah.
Warframe. Even though there's a lot of things that the developers have done wrong over the years, they still keep coming back and taking me hand, foot, entire body back into the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you can ask, right? For games as a service, like, obviously, some decisions are going to be good, some are bad. It's just a matter of, like, will the developer,
The developers
Respond.
keep on doing. Like, I can take a 6-month break and still be pretty relevant in terms of how the game flows.
Yeah, and that's not something you can do in Destiny.
Yeah, I was going to
Not
say,
something you
with
can do in
Destiny,
Destiny.
every time I take a break, I come back, I'm just totally...
I don't even know where to get the new
Totally
content.
overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I can't, like,
It's a really poor onboarding experience.
Like, you can easily quit Warframe and then every major update just come back.
Yeah.
And you'll be fine.
Yeah.
If you're any modicum of, like, medium progression, you can do fine. Because all the stuff's geared for new players as well.
Yeah.
Because it's also a free-to-play game.
It is a free-to-play game, yeah.
Actively growing.
They want more people, yeah.
I don't want to be Destiny.
And they've really shaken it up. Like, that game didn't have open world areas when it launched. Like,
Not as
that was a
open
huge
world areas.
update, yeah.
Didn't have the ability to fly things.
Yeah.
Now you can fly things.
It's a vastly different game today than it was at launch.
Oh yeah, I was talking to someone who played it just as long as not as long as I have, and I was showing them old screenshots that I dug up. The game looks radically different. Even
Oh
the
my
UI
God.
had gotten redesigned at some point.
Being an old head in an MMO, and I'm going to count Warframe as an MMO here, is
It
wild.
really
Like,
is.
I would, like,
You feel like
Yeah.
Gandalf almost. Like
Yeah,
you've
you
seen
walk
it.
up
Like
to-
early in Warframe, it didn't even have the orbiter or any map. It was just a bunch of menus and a map.
yep, that was when I played. I
And there
haven't
were
played since then.
decks of
Yeah.
cards. It was not a great system.
Yeah.
And now those are all gone. Every little bit of it that's been reworked or retouched.
Yeah.
There's social spaces now.
You can walk around your ship now.
You can walk around your ship. You can decorate your ship.
Oh my-
You
I
can
didn't know
fill it
that.
with 100-some Roombas.
Okay.
The friend I know, he opened his orbiter. He loaded in, the door opened, and an army poured out of space Roombas. He has, I think, 40,000 platinum worth of Roombas.
Wow.
I'm guessing that's a lot of room. But
Sounds like a lot, yeah.
Each one's 100.
Oh my god. Oh.
No, I think each one's like, it's probably 4,000 or some high number. I can't remember. But he didn't pay a cent for them. It was all organically earned platinum because he sped run like
Love to hear that.
high end content.
Yeah.
So he just had a lot of things that sold for a lot of money lying around.
It's good to hear that's like not pay to win, right?
Yeah,
Like it's
if you want to buy a Prime Warframe, you can go trade somebody for it, or you can grind the parts yourself, and then sell those off and then buy the ones you want.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think and they're really generous with like 75% off coupons too.
Yeah.
Like you're dumb if you buy platinum for full price.
Yeah.
Just wait. The game's going to give you a 75% off, and then you're going to spend $20 on $40 worth of premium currency.
I don't think that math is right. But
A little less, somewhere in there. I think I spent $20 on $60 worth of premium
there you
currency.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. something
Somewhere
like
in
that,
there.
yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, Warframe.
It's solid. I've talked about it a lot. There's not much more I can
Yeah,
say
no,
because I
yeah.
talk about it once every year.
You got to pay its
Yeah.
respect.
In 100 episodes, I've talked about it just about every
Every episode.
episode.
you know? I'll move us on to the next one with a game I would wager neither of you have ever even heard of unless I've talked about it on the show before. It is called Flyff, which is short for Fly for Fun, and it's
You mentioned it, yeah.
It's the first major MMO I ever not major MMO. It's the first MMO I really got into, because I played Toontown a little bit as a kid, saw the commercials, played it, but my parents wouldn't get me a subscription, so I couldn't really play it.
Hey, Toontown was the crap.
Flyff kicked me off on getting very into free-to-play MMOs, specifically Korean ones.
Yeah.
This was hosted at the time. It switched hands. I keep track of it every once in a while because I think it's fascinating. This game has switched hands so many times, but when I played it, it was owned by a company, or published by a company called G Potato, which published several MMOs of differing quality. Flyff being the only one that is worth looking at, in my opinion. Flyff was extremely good to me, though. Like,
what is it? You just like fly planes or something?
No, it's an RPG.
Okay.
Like, yeah. So the reason it's called Fly for Fun is very gimmicky and not at all related to the actual gameplay. At level 20, you could buy a hoverboard or a magic broom, and you could fly around on it as a way to get around quickly. That is it. That is the only reason.
Okay.
Other than that, it is just your bog standard MMORPG. Like, you can play as an the classes were like fighter, acrobat, assist, magician. Yeah, assist was weird. Assist was just buffs and stuff. Yeah.
Who's gonna pick
It was called an
assist?
assist. I knew a few of them because you needed them. You needed them around.
They were valuable.
But yeah, I played as a magician, and magicians you could dual class. You could subclass later into either side. There was only one subclass after you got your class, by the way, which is like
that's kind of lame. Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of times there's a lot more than that. But you could become either a scion or an elementalist, and like elementalists, I thought like that was why I picked magician, was because they had these crazy powers where that would destroy. It would melt my computer. You could like call in. This was this would be nothing now, but at the time it was insane to me. They had like a meteor shower spell.
Yeah.
That would like fill the entire screen and kill everything, and it would empty your mana bar.
And your computer's RAM.
Yeah, and no, this game inspired my dad to buy me a nicer computer because I was playing it all the time, and I did not
smell the burning.
No, I played it at a friend's house, and there were a couple underwater areas, and I thought you had to navigate them blind. I thought that was the challenge, but no, my graphics card did not support transparency. So when I went underwater, my screen just turned blue, and I played it at a friend's house and realized that there was stuff under there.
That's so funny.
Jesus.
But I must have played this game forever, and it like I don't know. It was the first game I played that had like online PvP. Like it had a server you could log into where everybody could kill each other, and there was like morality and stuff. Yeah. And like and if you got caught, like if you killed other players and then were later killed, you got sent to prison and you had to like work your way out of it. And that happened to me one time, and I like had no idea how to get out. I was completely trapped as a kid. I didn't know what to do. It was like an easy quest. You had to like get 100 of an item or something. It wasn't terrible, but it was a grind. And I thought it was this insurmountable task. I thought my game was destroyed.
You just have to make a new character.
Yeah. Oh my god, I played this game all the time. And I would strongly suggest anybody look up the soundtrack to this game because it is iconic. It's actually, I still listen to it to work sometimes because it's really good. I do not recommend anyone plays this game in 2021.
Is it still available in 2021?
I was looking earlier today to see if it was, and it is definitely being distributed by someone. I could not it did not look very legitimate. It looked like a virus.
That checks out.
Yeah.
So no Maple Story, huh?
This was before Maple Story for me. So
okay, yep.
Yeah. This was the gateway
I highly
to a lot of free to play
putting
MMOs.
An MMO on my list. And
you didn't put Maple Story in?
No, if you asked me another day, I probably would, but like that's just the way the list shook out today. But
see, I partially didn't include Maple Story because I thought you would, but this game does have probably a more important place to me.
Yeah, as the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, as the first, because I got some friends into it. I made a lot of friends in it, and I just like so all the continents were like floating in the air, right? And so once you unlock the ability to fly, you weren't trapped on this island anymore, and you could suddenly like the world just opened up, and there was only one right place to go, like where you would still find enemies you could kill and all, but like the world just got so much bigger, and it was just wild, very cool.
Yeah, I think the reason an MMO isn't on my list is because I only really played two, RuneScape and Maple Story, and obviously they had a big impact on me, but like I don't think it like stayed with me. The hunger to play MMOs kind of died with Maple Story. I think.
See, yeah, Flyff got me into it. I played a lot of smaller ones for a long time as a kid. I spent more time trying to get them to work on my computer than playing them, probably. Until I found Mabinogi, which was like the MMO I lived in for years. Yeah. Which I played considerably more than I played Flyff, but Flyff was like the...
You gotta pay your specs.
Yeah, it's where you start. God. It was a good game, too. Like, it wasn't bad. And, like, I don't even remember what you could buy in the game, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't remember why people spent money on it. looking back. I think there must have been
There
like
had to have been something. It's an MMO.
there must have just been like really good
It's
items.
a free-to-play MMO,
but
you had to spend money on something.
I never spent a dime on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe they were like faster hoverboards or whatever. Like, because I did spend a lot of time traveling.
Yeah. That's part of the fun in MMOs.
Sometimes, yeah.
All right, should I go with mine?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So my next one is Banjo Kazooie, and I know Connor is a hater. He can hate all he wants.
Hate's a strong word, but I don't love it.
So Banjo Kazooie, so like it's interesting, right? Because Super Mario 64 was the first video game I've ever played, right? And it was a 3D platformer. Banjo Kazooie, a mascot 3D platformer, right?
Yeah.
And Banjo Kazooie is basically the same thing, right? But like something about the aesthetic of Banjo Kazooie, the music, the levels, it really drew me in and made me fall in love with the genre. And I still love it to this day, I think because of Banjo Kazooie.
It does a lot of stuff better than Super Mario 64 too. Like, it doesn't kick you out of the level when you get a Jiggy, does it?
No.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, that alone makes it a lot.
Plus, like, I don't know, like, the levels in Super Mario 64, obviously revolutionary, but, like, they were just, like, isolated levels. Like, each Banjo-Kazooie level felt like a little world, you know? Like, it was... And I've mentioned before, like, little me getting the VHS tape that had the ad for Banjo-Kazooie on it and just watching it over and over and again.
Yeah.
Like, anticipating this game, like, I need to play this game, and I finally got it. And I also remember, when Banjo-Tooie came out, like, I remember really wanting that more than anything, and then one of my best friends at the time came to my, like, second grade or first grade birthday party or something, and I got that as a present, and it was, like, the best, like, one of the happiest moments of my life. I remember, like, getting Banjo-Tooie that way. But Banjo-Kazooie itself, like, Banjo-Kazooie is one of those games where, like, I was telling Connor, like, yeah, they're putting Banjo-Kazooie on the Nintendo Switch online service in January.
Which is a terrible service.
It is a terrible service.
Anyway.
It is a terrible service. I'm going to pay for that because I want to.
Gotcha.
I want to support
Sinker.
Banjo-Kazooie in any way I can because unfortunately, like a lot of these games we've talked about, Banjo-Kazooie really just got left by the wayside. Like a lot of older games come back nowadays. Banjo-Kazooie, still no sign of Banjo-Kazooie in 2021. It's kind of been, I don't want to say forgotten, but definitely left behind as over the ages.
Busy. They're busy being pirates.
Yeah, Rare's busy. I don't think Rare will make it, even if a third one comes out.
There's not a lot of people at Rare that are like from the Banjo-Kazooie days anyway.
But yeah, it's one of those things where like I have to show my love and support for it in the slim hopes that it'll motivate whoever, Nintendo, Microsoft, whoever, to make a successor. But like
they made a successor.
Yeah,
a successor that isn't like a cart building game or whatever.
No, Ukulele.
Yeah, they had the chameleon.
Yeah, Ukulele. So Ukulele is interesting. Like, I often think, because Ukulele, as we all know, is the spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie, made by a lot of the same people who worked on the originals. And it's not a very good game, I think. But I also go back and think, like, if I had played Ukulele as, like, a 6 or 7-year-old, rather than Banjo-Kazooie, what would I think? I don't know. Like, maybe I could have fallen for that.
A lot of Ukulele's faults were, like, not learning from 20 years of game design.
Yeah, it was just basically the same thing again, but lacking the charm, I think.
Yeah.
Which was just, like, vapid. Like,
and to be fair, they did make a good ukulele game. Ukulele in the Impossible
but, like, it wasn't,
but it wasn't
in that
it
style.
wasn't a Banjo game. Yeah, it was a Donkey Kong Country.
But, man, like, it's a bear with a bird stuffed into his backpack, and, like, the weird sounds they make when they talk, like, I know it's like super obnoxious, but like
that stuff's charming to you when you're a kid.
It was charming when I was
when you're 24 years old and playing it for the first time.
For the first time, I can
untenable.
understand, but like, that world is just full of like quirky little characters.
Yeah.
Mumbo Jumbo, Bottles.
Yeah.
The little like hedgehog thing or was it a hedgehog or beaver or something? Bottles.
Bottles a groundhog.
Groundhog.
Bottles a mole.
Oh, he's a mole.
He was a mole.
All the same thing. Who cares?
Moles are groundhogs. I couldn't tell you the difference.
He's a mole.
Yeah. But, like, it teaches you moves and, like... and another thing I loved about Banjo-Kazooie, like, over Super Mario 64 was, like, learning new attacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool. And, like, finally, getting the ability... Well, not finally, but I think you get the ability to, like, fly in level 2. And it's just, like, super... Like, I never even expected that, like... Now I'm flying in this platformer game, and like it was just like
my Banjo-Kazooie is Spyro. Like
I figured
and they're very similar games. Like,
it's just like it just sucks you into this like really charming world that you don't want to leave, and like it definitely made me stand for that genre.
Yeah.
Even to this day, like mascot 3D platformers, I tie my love back to that one game.
Yeah.
So.
Like everything you just said, if I replace Banjo Kazooie with Spyro, it applies perfectly.
Yeah, like I feel like it is interesting because like I often think like you know like how much of this is just the fact that you know like it was the first one. Like if I had discovered Spyro first, would I be like on you know
you'd be Connor.
Yeah, I'd be Connor. You know like
be cynical.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I love Banjo Kazooie to death, and I can only hope that somebody, please, for the love of God, bring it back.
Yeah.
What the Sonic fans have been saying for years.
I mean, the Sonic fans have been getting stuff for
games.
years.
They're just bad.
They're terrible, but like at least it's something.
Come on,
right?
all
like,
I'm saying is bring Shadow the Hedgehog back. Put him in. Give me Shadow the Hedgehog 2.
Yeah, is that your next game? Shadow the Hedgehog?
No, unfortunately.
What's your next game?
My next game is actually a PlayStation 1 title called NGEN Racing.
NGEN Racing?
I've never heard of this.
Heard of that?
Well, I'm just going to show you the box art and take a guess of what it's about.
This is going to go great for our audio medium.
I'll describe it. It's about planes.
All right, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Where it all started.
That's where it all starts.
Where it all started. That's the rabbit hole that Project Wingman brought me back into. But it was a plane racing game.
Okay.
And I was like, I think when I played this, it was like 2000, 2001. So I was a real young kid and didn't quite understand what a plane was. Well, I did, but I didn't. Yeah. I just thought plane looked cool. Plane have eagle. Plane goes scurry.
Were you a caveman when you were a kid?
I was, yes. I have
caveman now.
I have not changed. But I don't even remember playing the game a lot. Because I remember getting past like the beginner levels where they don't give you guns and missiles.
Yeah, I feel like we all had a game like that where like...
And then they give you guns and missiles and I could never win.
Yeah, I remember... There are a few games from my childhood I remember playing, but like... I don't remember doing anything in them. I remember that I played the game and that is it.
Yeah, I remember playing the game a lot and playing those first couple levels a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't remember getting anywhere past that.
Yeah.
It just holds a soft spot because it brought me into the rabbit hole of playing Sims.
Yeah.
And here I am now playing Project Wingman.
And loving it. And it being in your Spotify Wrapped.
It was in my Spotify Wrapped. I listened to that song so much. It was just one song.
Yeah.
And I think Ace Combat 6 is going to end up in my Spotify Wrapped this year.
Well,
it's always interesting to like. That's what I was kind of hoping when I suggested this topic is like we could like trace back the origin of like a lot of our things. So it's always fascinating to hear where that stuff comes from. So.
Yeah, that was what was interesting about this topic to me too. Was like tracing my favorite games now, and like back to the prototypical.
Yeah.
Like yeah. Do you have more to say about?
I do not.
Okay. Yeah. So my next game, speaking of like the prototypical versions of our favorite game. My favorite game of all time, as of now, is Outer Wilds, right?
Expected, yeah.
But if you trace that back, the like first game that put me down this path was actually a game called Gone Home that I believe Mike hates. And but I really like Gone Home, and it's a game that like I like to show people. It's a game I like to show to people who don't play a lot of games because I think it's extremely different. Like when you talk about video games to someone who doesn't play them, Gone Home is vastly different from what they imagine.
One thing that angers my caveman brain. It's pretentious indie games.
You see, they give me serotonin.
They anger my caveman brain.
But like you got again like Gone Home. Like even if you don't like it, you got to acknowledge the impact it's had on gaming.
Because it was the first good walking sim. Like I got it in a Humble Bundle and I played it. I thought it was a horror game going in. First of all,
a lot of people it definitely tricks you.
It tricks you into thinking that to kind of give you that tension, which I think that tension was really smart because it makes you not notice some of the like maybe not amazing writing. Like it's not bad. Is not what I'm saying, but like I think it is. You give it a pass more because your brain is like on high alert, waiting for something scary. But like you're walking around and you just like explore this house and you piece together a story on your own, and I love that in games. I love piecing a story together on my own. And, like, obviously Outer Wilds takes that and is like, well, what if it has a good video game on it, too?
Yeah.
Like, and that's why Outer Wilds is incredible.
What if there's a good game here?
Yeah, but Gone Home, like, I remember, my girlfriend in high school who, was not into a lot of the games I played, we sat down and we played Gone Home together, and it was, like, super fun. and it's a game I just love sharing with people and I care about because I think it's a really good gateway to the medium.
Yeah. There's always games like that out there. Like, I've encountered people in my life being like, oh, I don't play video games. So I'm just like, oh, will you let me change your mind? You know, there's always a way into the industry. Into the medium. Yeah.
Yeah, Gone Home is good too as well. It's not very long. It's only a few hours long. Gone Home is not my go-to for this anymore. It's actually the beginner's guide, which is extremely similar to Gone Home mechanically, and then it doesn't have a ton of mechanics. And but you just walk around and experience the story. Yeah. And actually, Gone Home, you probably have to piece together the story on your own a little more than you do Beginner's Guide. But I would still
Beginner's Guide to gaming.
Yeah, but yeah, I love Gone Home. That game holds a very special place in my heart. I think it was one of the first games I played in VR because I modded it to be VR because I wanted to be in that house because it was like such an important place to me.
Yeah, it's a good game. Yeah, I enjoy it too. So my next game, no surprise to anyone, is Civilization 5.
Oh, that was going to be on my list.
Is it on your list?
It's kinda.
Yeah.
I put like 2 through 5, but...
Okay, yeah.
I'm just going to lump them all together.
Yeah, I guess we can just get into it then. But like, okay, so with combining Civilization 5 and 6, I have over 1,000 hours on Steam playing those games.
All together in every Civ, I probably have about 1,000 hours.
Yeah, and it's the only 1,000-hour game I have. Like, I think in my entire... No, Destiny 1 is over 1,000 hours, but... yeah, Civilization. I've told this story in this podcast before, so I don't want to belabor on it too long.
That makes my caveman brain happy. Yeah. Civilization, that one, press that end turn button. I don't even care if I do anything. Just gotta press that button. Yeah, it's that instant release of serotonin. It's
like, yeah. So, as a freshman in college, I discovered Civilization for the first time. Civilization 5. And it just... I remember the weekend where I discovered that's all I did. I didn't do anything else. I just, I was like, what is this? I've never had anything I've never experienced anything like this before. It's just like...
Number go up.
And like, the whole one more turn thing, like, it's true. Like, it's like every turn there's something you want to do. Even if you think you're done, then something else pops up and it's just like, oh my gosh, I need to do this. I need to do this.
More production. Nukes.
Yeah. I felt the one more turn syndrome before, but I don't even think I have 100 hours in Civ. Like, I've played Civ 5, but I did not get as into it as you guys.
Yeah, I didn't play Civ 5 as much as I played Civ 3 and 2.
Yeah, so you're used to the older ones.
A veteran.
Yeah, a veteran, yeah. I actually did at some point play the first Civ as well.
I mean, that's how Civ is, right? Like, the previous Civ is going to be better than the new one until all the DLC for the new one comes out.
I don't know, Civ 2 was kind of bad. It wasn't actually produced by Firaxis or whatever.
Yeah,
Firaxis.
Firaxis, yeah.
Firaxis. It was produced by like a third-party company.
Yeah, but no, so it opened up a whole new genre of game for me, right? Like, I didn't play those strategy...
Turn-based 4Xs.
Yeah, I never even heard of a 4X game before Civilization, like, the closest analog I can get, and it's not even close, but... I played Roller Coaster Tycoon when I was a little bit, and it had some strategy elements.
Yeah,
that's about the closest I can get, but with Civilization, there were so many things to think about. Like, there's so many elements happening at the same time, right? You got to think of your science, your culture, your economy, your religion, your diplomacy, and all of this. And it's just like, I love that sense of just being drowned by systems.
I'm laughing because my first RTS or first strategy game in general was a Korean free MMO. I don't even remember what it was called, but it was terrible.
We're over here like, man, we played Civ, and Connor's like, I played Korean games.
Korean Civ, yeah.
Korean Civ, whatever that is.
That was terrible. But yeah,
Connor had that internet access as a kid that I didn't.
Yeah,
but yeah, sure, I would have dove into Korea too.
And I guess it was just a product of like being in the dorms in college. But like there were other people who had Civilization on their laptops, and we'd do like LAN get-togethers.
I've done hot seat multiplayer in Civ.
Yeah, I've tried hot seat before, and it's just
we played that when I worked at summer camp. My buddy Isaac had it on his laptop, and we played a little bit.
Yeah. And like I'm one that really enjoys like the slower pace, so I always play on standard. Or I even remember there was a phase in Civ 5 where I'd only play on epic difficulty.
Or marathon.
I tried marathon once, and then I was just like, I can't do this because it's just like each era is the length of an entire standard game. So it's actually like dozens.
30 hours.
It's actually like hundreds of hours. But I have done Epic before, which is like a longer version of Civ, which is just
I think
stupid.
I used to play on normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, normal is the way to go. But
Normal was probably what I was playing on because I was bad.
I think for an extra life one year, I'm just gonna play a marathon Civ game.
You won't finish it.
Yeah, you won't even get close.
2 extra lives. I'll just stay up until
It'll be
the
a
game's
yearly
over.
tradition. Yeah, you'll just record 4 extra lives and
But yeah, Civ,
Span of 4 days.
it's interesting. I don't know if it's because Civilization was my first 4X game, but all of the ones I've tried afterward haven't really captured that same magic, at least for me. I've tried all sorts of all sorts of great games, don't get me wrong. Like I've tried I dabbled a little bit with, grand strategy, and I play a lot of I play Stellaris and Endless Space and others that I can't think of right now, but yeah, they're great, but I always come back to Civilization,
You always gotta come back to the original.
with Civilization 6, that's my go-to right now. I still to this day, if someone calls me up and is like, hey, you want to play Civ 6? I get on, and then basically all plans are gone, and that's all I'm doing.
So I
it's
can't
just
record today playing Civ 6.
yeah, that's,
sorry, can't play Valheim that I asked you to buy to play with me. I'm too busy
Yeah.
playing Civ 6 for the next 8 months.
That's just it happens, man.
Hey, I play Valheim every weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
I don't.
interesting
I
because
got that skill down.
it's not. We've talked about addictive games before, but it definitely is to me. I really
Yeah.
some people can resist the one more turn temptation stronger than others.
Sometimes you just get I think the only thing that ends a session of Civ for me is I either get bored,
Yeah,
which does happen. Sometimes you're just I've
mean,
already won.
yeah.
And it's just a matter of waiting, and I don't want to wait.
Yeah, I feel that.
Or I'm tired, or I need to eat, so I need to turn the game
hey man,
off for 20 seconds.
even those things haven't stopped me before. I've told myself all right, I have a hard stop at 5. Look at the clock; it's 11 o'clock, and I'm just well, this is just what happened.
I have to sleep.
So yeah, and man, there's
I'll physically have to manually hold my eyes open to hit that save game button and then immediately topple over.
Yeah.
Because I can't press one more turn.
Yeah.
it's something, man. There's nothing quite like it.
Civ is a drug.
A lot of 4X games out there, but nothing quite like Civ, I think.
Yeah.
They didn't even intentionally do it. It just happened.
I think I agree with you, but I think that's up
It
for
was a
debate.
happy accident that
I-
people were just going to get that serotonin response.
Friend
from
of the
every time
show,
they
Ryan.
pressed End game.
Yeah,
Friend
Ryan
of the show,
agrees.
Ryan, I think would disagree with us about whether or not it's intentional to make Civ addictive, but
Yeah.
I mean, back when they
And he makes a
first
strong
came with the
case.
first Civ, I don't think they intentionally made it. They didn't. We didn't know.
yeah,
what
but they didn't
games
stop.
were back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
The theory of making games addictive wasn't even a thought in people's heads. They were just programming fun little things to put together.
I don't know. Polybius was pretty addictive.
That's not a real game.
But yeah.
Actually.
So
So
Civ,
actually me with a conspiracy theory.
yeah, obviously Civ 6 is the one I play. Civ 5 is the one that had to be on this list. And it's funny, I think, Mike, you were going to put 5 Civ games on your list in one
Yes,
package.
but I'm
which-
going to combine them and I'm going to cut
Yeah.
the Civs out and I'm going to put another Civilization spin-off in there.
All right, so do you want to go next? Good follow-up, I guess?
Well, the follow-up is actually The Witcher 3 because that's my next one on the list.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
The Civ's up next.
Yeah.
But I think The Witcher 3 is that first RPG I played that changed my concept of what an RPG could do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it does
I
does
played
things that...
Oblivion,
It's
but
colossal.
The
Yeah.
Witcher really phoned home oh god, this is a world.
especially in terms of side quest design and impact, how the side quests keep tying back into the story and stuff
the
like
side
that.
quests will tie back into each other.
That was it was pretty revolutionary at the time. A lot of games took inspiration from The Witcher 3.
Yeah, you do a side quest and then 5-6 hours later you see that person again and you wouldn't know why. What did I do? Or they'd be dead.
Yeah, I haven't played this game, so
There's just consequences. Every action you did had a consequence somewhere down the line, and you might not even see it in the game.
Yeah,
It might just be
it'll be in a book you read later.
really-
Yeah, it might be in a book.
It really felt like a world,
Yeah.
it really felt like your actions had consequences.
You felt
And-
like you were a part of the world
and-
rather than the world just revolving.
And this
around
is
you.
coming from someone. I have 40 hours in The Witcher 3, and then I happened to accidentally delete my save.
No.
And
I had 87.
so you didn't even beat the game, right?
I'm finishing up all the rest of the hunts and everything
Yeah,
before I finish the
because
game. and
The
then
Witcher
do
3 is a
DLC.
massive game, and I always have wanted to go back to it, but like I just can't. It's like replaying 40 hours of content is a lot to ask.
It's a good 40 hours.
It is a great 40 hours.
It's a great, enjoyable. And I'm just
40
like,
hours. But I'm like, I can't believe like. There are a couple times in my life where I've experienced the pain of like deleting a save. Like one was actually Super Mario 64. Funny story. Like someone else deleted that save. They like were mean to me or whatever. And like they came over and deleted my save, and I like cried for hours. Like it was terrible.
You lost 8 hours of progress.
No, but to me, like that was the only game I had. Like, it was like a big deal to me. But like
8 hours of progress was.
But 40 hours of The Witcher 3. Yeah, I probably should have cried about that.
40 hours of The Witcher 3 is a full work week.
Yeah.
That you could get paid or play 40 hours of The Witcher. One of those is better than the other.
One of these, I still have it in my head that one of these days I'll go back to it, but...
I want to play it someday.
It is definitely a game.
Maybe I'll get to 40 hours and I'll send you my save.
That it resonates. Like, I can't describe it. Like, Mass Effect, sure. I'm not going to talk about Mass Effect. It's later on the list.
Yeah, I figured it would be.
Yeah.
But all the choices felt like they mattered. Whereas other games at the time, the choices were kind of just these binary options. But The Witcher had me legitimately thinking, like, is this a good idea? Is this morally right? Mm-hmm. Is this ethical?
Yeah, if the writing in it is anywhere near as good as the Netflix series, it's got to be incredible.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of... There's so much gray in The Witcher that there's no choice that's straight black and white.
Yeah.
Like, I found myself more like, what would Geralt do in this situation rather than... What would I do in this situation?
Yeah, it got you actually role-playing.
Yeah, I played Geralt.
It's also funny with The Witcher 3, like, did you play Witcher 1 and 2?
No.
Neither did I. You know, like, Witcher 3 was the one that really sort of captured everyone, like, regardless of whether they played the first two or not.
And you understood what was going on because it was all explained.
Yeah.
Pretty fairly.
Pretty remarkable, you know, because, like, Witcher 1 and 2 were pretty meaty games, from what I understand.
Very meaty.
And the fact that, I feel like most people just jumped into 3 and, like, really
Witcher 3 is also an older game at this point that, like,
it is,
does not feel old.
What was it, like 2015 or something?
Same year as Fallout 4.
16, 15? I don't know, something like 16,
that. We were recording the podcast at the time. That'd
be 2017.
The podcast had not started yet when this came out. This was around the time where I started failing my college classes, because Fallout 4 came out.
Yeah, I think that was my freshman year of college, so that would have been 2015.
That was my sophomore year of college. I remember going in, waking up every day, booting up Fallout 4, playing it till I went to band.
Yeah.
Coming back from band, playing more Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Non-stop. Just in and out, in and out.
Yeah.
Games can do that to you.
That's the last game that did that to me, too. Yeah. Now I'm an adult who has a job, who can't just say, I don't want to go to work today.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah, The Witcher, it's, I will get back to it one day. I just keep telling myself that. Yeah.
One of these days you'll play The Witcher.
One of these days I'll also play Cyberpunk, but like I'm waiting for it to not be a broken mess.
I mean, my roommate put, and he had his vacation last week. He put like 58 hours in 2 days.
To Cyberpunk?
In Cyberpunk.
Yeah, like Cyberpunk looked fun. I just wanted to work when I played it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll work eventually, and that's when I'll play it. Like, I'm in no rush.
Like, apparently it works now, but I don't want to get back into it.
I'll wait until it's cheap, then.
I'll wait till DLC's out.
Next game? We ready for that? Or...
We're ready for next game.
I think I'm gonna go with Terraria. Terraria was like one of the first games I thought of for this list. Not really because it influenced my taste in games so much, but it was like one of the first games I played as a kid where I like was cognizant that this was a game made by like 2 people, and I was like, I could do this. Like, yeah, it was like one of the first games that like made me try to do game development. I remember me and some of my friends like started in middle school trying to like learn programming and learn to do game development because of Terraria. And like obviously now, like, you know, Terraria is like it's kind of like a 2D Minecraft if you've never played it, and it's this I guess we haven't been describing games from a core level super well throughout this episode. Now that I think about it,
games like Terraria, I feel like it's
Terraria is pretty well known, but it's still it may be my most played game on Steam as far as like actual real hours played, not just leaving it on. Because I just replay every time there's a major update. Me and my friends replay it from scratch, sometimes more than once, because like, you know, you can generate a world and not get all the content in Terraria. Like there's a thing called the Corruption versus the Crimson, and you only get one of the two, and the bosses are different. Like it's just such a massive game, and it really, like, I feel like it did kind of inspire my love of Noita, because Noita and Terraria have similar combat styles, sort of.
The DNA is similar.
The DNA is similar, yeah, that is a good way to put it. And, I mean, Noita's amazing.
Noita's, what are they, Polish?
Yeah. Polish.
Yeah, Noita's Polish. The Poles are well known for making their games.
Finnish.
Finnish? The Finns are well known for also making their games very, very difficult.
Noita is Finnish mythology, I believe.
It's interesting because, like, Terraria, like, at the time I always thought of it as, like, the 2D analog to Minecraft. Yeah, but it's so different.
That's what I thought of it when it came out. Yeah. And my friend Antonio had to talk me into buying it for $2.50, which is a lot of money to an 8th grader. And, he had to, like, really convince me to buy it because I was just like, it's just Minecraft with 2D. Why would I pay for less D?
Yeah, less D.
Yeah, and then I bought it and was immediately engrossed by, like, it just has combat, like, in a way that Minecraft really doesn't. It cares about boss fights and exploration and stuff. And, like, Terraria, you will explore your entire world because the worlds are finite. In Minecraft, you're not going to do that.
Yeah.
And, yeah, no, Terraria's a very good game, and I would recommend it to basically anybody to give it a shot. It is a little grindy, especially if you want some of the better items, but I have played it through so many times. I mean, it's the only game with, like, grinding like that where I have actually done the grind multiple times because I love it so much. And yeah, it got me into game development in a pretty meaningful way. It got me into, like, learning procedural generation, and I don't know, it kind of, like, Notch might have been before Redigit, but, like, Redigit was, like, the first celebrity game developer that I followed and, like, kept an eye on and, like, looked up to a lot.
Yeah.
Because Notch was kind of unattainable. Redigit was less unattainable to me, I guess, because the game was 2D. I don't know. But Terraria is very special to me.
We don't talk about Notch anymore.
No, we do not.
So we talk about Redigit, though.
Yeah, Redigit's a pretty wholesome dude. He walked away from the game for his family, and then he came back.
Terraria is an incredible game, and
Didn't he also do work on Starbound?
No.
No.
That was Tyuri, who did some art on Terraria, I believe, and then went on to do Starbound, which is a terrible game.
Terrible game. It was good in launch, or it was good in its beta.
Yeah, and then it got worse every update.
I always have in my head that, like, Terraria is one of those games I always want to see through. Like, I always start it, and I have a really good time, but for whatever reason, I guess I just feel a little directionless, and I just, stop playing.
Part of the reason is I think well, I've only ever really played Terraria multiplayer. I don't think I've ever done a single-player playthrough. Mm-hmm. But I remember you played with me and my friends one time, and we were, like, so experienced and everything that, like, we were, like, rushing to the parts of the games that we love.
Yeah, I need to find someone who's, like, brand new.
Somebody who's not played it, And that's tough to find because Terraria is one of the most popular games on Steam, you know? I mean, I think I got Steam for Terraria. It was Terraria or Bad Company 2 that made me install Steam, and talking about games that are formative for me, the one that got Steam onto my computer.
Yeah, once Steam's on your computer, it doesn't leave.
It's downhill, yeah. Yeah, imagine owning one Steam game. Like, can you even remember what that was like?
No.
I can remember owning 0 Steam games.
As someone who isn't a PC gamer, I can't even remember that.
Yeah.
Like, technically, my first owned Steam game was Dota 2.
Wow. Yeah, no, mine was almost certainly Terraria.
My account to all the freedom of, you know, having a Steam account.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have a ton more to say about it. Just, you know, got me into game development, and that's huge. Like,
I mean, obviously, yeah.
It's life-changing.
Yeah. All right, so my next game is a BioWare game. And it is probably not the BioWare game you all think it is.
Oh.
So, and I feel like this might be a sort of spicy pick. Like, people might think this is doo-doo. But I'm going to talk about Dragon Age Origins.
That's not doo-doo.
You don't think so? Yeah, I feel like people hate on it unfairly.
If you said Dragon Age 2, I'd be like, that's doo-doo.
So Dragon Age Origins, I remember...
That bad take.
Very clearly, I think, like, in high school, maybe I was a junior or something. This is one of those games that, like, I don't know how, but all of my friend group collectively decided to play this game.
Yeah.
And this was basically, like, all we talked about for months and months and months. And it was my first BioWare RPG. And I think it was one of my first, like, 3D action strategy RPGs ever, right? Like, and I know Dragon Age came out after Mass Effect 1, and I had not played Mass Effect 1, right? Like, I played Dragon Age, and then I was like, okay, BioWare, obviously, they make my style of games, and then I got into Mass Effect after that.
It's all downhill from there.
And then, I always figured maybe I want to check out, like, Baldur's Gate or something like that, but, like... which they're also very well known for. But yeah, Dragon Age Origins, it's interesting to me because like its story, now that I think about it, isn't like anything remarkable, I would say, like The Witcher 3 is. But like it was interesting because at the time it was like one of the first ones that was just like, okay, you form these, you know, friendships with your party and like you can make these choices that come back later in the game, and obviously, you know, like that's such a common aspect of RPGs, right? Like, but like it was my first real experience to something like that in an RPG. Yeah. The BioWare RPG, right? Like BioWare RPGs are known for like you make these major decisions at the end of major quest lines that impact the state of the game going forward. Mm-hmm. And Dragon Age Origins was full of these kinds of choices, and that led to the game being highly replayable too. I can't even count the number of times me and my friends replayed it, you know, like, and it was just one of those games where it was just like it totally captured, you know, all of our attention, and it's like all we wanted to talk about, as weird as it sounds. But I remember how hyped we were, you know, after playing Dragon Age Origins for Dragon Age 2. I remember how excited we were for Dragon Age 2. And I remember when that first trailer came out, we were like, oh my god, look at this, look at this. Like, we'd watch it on YouTube. I can't even remember how many times we watched that trailer on YouTube. We just, like, watched it over and over again. And then the game came out and it was doo-doo.
Yeah.
And it, like, didn't even reference, basically, your character in Dragon Age 1, who was, like, the hero of Ferelden. Right, like you start out and you basically like save the world at the end of the game, and you could potentially become king at the end of the game. And we thought all these elements would carry over to Dragon Age 2. Not really. Like,
I think the only Dragon Age game I've played is Inquisition.
Inquisition, yeah. Like,
and it's weird because like, I bounced off it really hard.
Dragon Age Origins easily the best Dragon Age game, right? Like I feel like BioWare hasn't been able to recapture that magic. But, like, I've also talked to people that say, like, Dragon Age just as a whole sucks, and I don't know if I agree with that. Like, Dragon Age Origins was definitely, I think, a very formative game for me.
Yeah.
And really sort of got me, you know, like, if Oblivion got me into, like, first-person gaming in general, then Dragon Age Origins got me into Western RPGs in general, I think, is fair to say. And, yeah, I love that game to bits. I still remember, like, you know, years after it had fallen out of, like, our collective consciousness, like, I went back. Like, I think that this is the last time I played my PS3. Like, I booted it up, replayed the whole thing through, and, like, got the Platinum Trophy. Like, just beat everything as, like, just one final, like, goodbye to that game. Yeah, it's a great game. It's one that I would love to see, like, maybe, like, a remake of someday, but I don't know.
So you could play it all again.
Yeah, I would totally play it all again, but, like, obviously, I think Mass Effect is the more popular choice there if BioWare were able to pursue something like that.
Yeah. They did do it.
You have any thoughts on Dragon Age, Mike? I know you played it, right?
I've played it.
What'd you think of it?
I have a lot of thoughts about it. It's a good game.
It's a good game, yeah.
That's about all I got.
Good game, no thoughts.
Good game, no thoughts. Head empty.
I figured it would be
Sleep
like
deprivation kicking in.
it would be kind of a unique pick because I feel like a lot of people wouldn't. If you ask someone what are your top 10 most influential games, I don't really think many people would say Dragon Age Origins, but it definitely was for me. So, yeah. How about you, Mike?
All right, so number 6 was originally going to be like 5 Civ games, but instead it's just going to be Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri.
Okay.
Which was probably the best of the old school Civ games, honestly.
Yeah.
I still go back and play it today, even though it looks like garbage.
Yeah. But looks aren't everything.
I remember people, like, when Beyond Earth came out, they were like, this is the sequel to Alpha Centauri. And
it's like an inferior version.
I played it, and it was, like, not as good as Civ 5, but yeah.
Yeah, Alpha Centauri is just about as deep as a modern Civ, but it throws you on a completely alien planet where the planet wants to kill you.
That's cool.
Yeah. With mind worms. And as you progress through the game, they get worse and worse and worse until eventually your cities are not under siege by other players, but, you know, the planet.
Yeah.
I love it. It's a Civ game. We've already talked in depth about Civ. This is just Civ on an alien planet.
4X in space, you know. Civ in space.
But you could commit war crimes and get away with it.
Because it's in space.
Because aliens aren't people, right?
No, there's a bunch of people that were on a UN ship, colony ship that crashed. There are aliens, but we don't talk about those. That's an expansion. But if the communication grid goes down and you do anything naughty, like launch a planet breaker missile at somebody, no one will know.
Oh.
So you can play around the game.
It's kind of spicy.
Yeah.
There's like a global warming mechanic in it. So as you industrialize, the water level will raise.
Couldn't get away from that, right?
Couldn't get
Follow
away
them
with
to space.
Follow them to space. Follow them all the way to Alpha Centauri.
Rats.
All the factions in that one are also really unique because you have like this African businessman, this group of Chinese people that are all about nerve stapling people.
Nerve stapling.
Yes.
Is that what I think it is? Like stapling people together via their nerves?
No, it's
Okay.
they stick like a chip in some people's brain to remove all like executive thought.
Oh.
And just make them mindless drones.
I don't like that.
Yeah, there's a whole faction that's dedicated to being hyper religious, and Sister Miriam can go die in a hole for all I care. I hate her.
Yeah.
She's awful.
So it has like a character.
Yeah, every leader has a character, and they'll
Yeah.
play to that character.
Okay.
I remember like when I was playing Beyond Earth, Civilization Beyond Earth, like everyone was saying like Alpha Centauri is like the best
Oh yeah, Alpha
Sid Meier
Centauri.
game, and I was just like, yeah, I gotta check this out sometime. You know, like this
Yeah,
is.
I think I have it on GOG. It's
Yeah.
dirt cheap on GOG. And
I
it
believe
runs
that.
perfectly fine.
Everything's dirt cheap on GOG.
Oh yeah, it's an ancient game. You can
Yeah.
buy it with the expansion, which adds the aliens and I think a bunch of pirates.
Interesting.
You can
Space
play as
pirates.
No, you can play as pirates.
Oh.
You get a pirate leader.
Sid Meier's did make
like
a pirate game,
a
too.
punk rocker hacker cult or whatever.
Yeah.
Every faction has their own unique identity, and like you'll have the militaristic Spartans or the UN peacekeepers or the man who just wants to be left alone to read books
Yeah.
or the religious one or the one who likes the planet and tames the mind worms and then releases them on your city. It's all about those mind worms.
Yeah, it sounds. Yeah, I feel like this is something I would.
Because they have their
super be
own
into.
combat mechanic too.
Yeah.
Like, they don't use standard attack, they use like psi attack.
Hmm.
So you have to build units to defend against that
Yeah.
and to fight them in that. So there's a lot of surprising depth to a game that's 20 years old,
Yeah.
I want to say.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. 2001.
I don't think it was I think it was before 2001 because it's all
So older than
All
20
sprite.
years. Yeah.
it's all sprite.
It's all
work.
sprites. Wow.
Yeah, it's all sprites.
Yeah.
All 2D sprites.
Yeah, that's what I was envisioning in my head.
Yeah, I think it came after Civ 2 but before Civ 3.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere in there.
If only Beyond Earth was actually good.
Yeah, if Beyond Earth was actually good, I just recommend playing Beyond
Yeah.
Earth. But Beyond Earth has the formula, but all the factions are just bland.
Yeah, you
copies
can't
of
imagine
one
my
another.
disappointment, right? Because like I had played Civ 5. This was my first next Civilization game, right? Because Beyond Earth came out between 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Then I played Beyond Earth. I was just like, this is bad somehow. Like I couldn't believe it. Honestly.
Yeah, there's a certain thing that left after Alpha Centauri where every unique faction had like a personality they played to.
Mm-hmm.
Like you didn't see that in Civ 5 as much.
Yeah, it wasn't so much in Civ 5.
Civ 6 didn't have that either, where each faction would have this. Well, they'd have a personality.
I mean, you have leaders, but like it's not. I guess it's
Yeah,
not
the
the same as a
leaders-
faction, really.
Well, the leaders were the leaders of the faction.
Okay.
It's Alpha Centauri, but they all had a unique play style that they'd play as the AI. Like the player, you could play them as whatever you wanted, but the AI would always do certain things, and
Yeah.
certain things would make the AI mad.
Bots having personality is like super important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The bots had a personality that you could play against. Like some of them would be more keen to make diplomatic deals, other
Yeah.
ones would be more keen to commit war crimes.
Yeah.
And other ones would be more keen to tell you to stop researching technology and robots are bad.
Looking at Gandhi.
The Gandhi, Space Gandhi. Yeah.
There was no space. There was no nukes Gandhi. There was a space. The UN peacekeepers led by like Chairman Lal or something. It's like an Indian guy, but
Not all Indian guys are Gandhi, but
he's not Gandhi. But he's like the Gandhi XP. He wants to make peace, so he's more
and
diplomatic.
I don't care how many men, women, and children have.
Yeah, he does not nuke, unfortunately. I don't think the AI likes to use planet busters.
Yeah.
But you could also customize your units in that game.
That's
cool.
that's a fun mechanic.
Oh,
Always.
it's a
Yeah.
blast.
You talking about it has me. It's not the same game, but I'm itching to play Wargroove right now. I love that game.
Very different, but yeah.
Like if you
extremely
wanted to,
different,
if you
yeah.
wanted to stick a terraforming bot on a helicopter, the game will let you do it. Have your workers be helicopters. Want to found a colony in the ocean? Take a colony pod on a ship.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Want to found a colony in the sky? Stick one on a plane.
Really?
I don't think you could do that.
Okay. Well,
I think you could, but I might be wrong. It's been a while since I played it.
Having never seen this game, I would have believed anything you said.
You could do anything to anything.
Yeah.
Except put Planet Buster missiles. You had to use a cruise missile.
Connor?
Yeah, I'm trying to decide which one I want to do next. I think I'm actually going to do The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm now immediately regretting my words and my deeds.
Yeah? Because you did or didn't put it?
I forgot about Zelda completely, actually.
Yeah, I had to put a Zelda.
Yeah.
And Wind Waker...
I knew I was forgetting something important.
I'm 99% sure. It was either Wind Waker or A Link to the Past on Game Boy Advance was my first, and I think it was Wind Waker. It was definitely the first one I beat. Wind Waker, I think, was actually the first... No, I probably beat Super Mario 64, but I had a completed save when I bought it.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I'm kind of just gonna piggyback off you now. Like, if I were to redo this list, Zelda, Wind Waker is particularly would be on there. Yeah.
Yeah, Wind Waker. My love of like a beautiful, colorful world. My love of like that art style, the cell shading in general. Like, and it was the first game I beat, and it was a hard game for a kid to beat. Like. That Triforce hunt.
Zelda games in general are, I would think, difficult for kids, but
I think this one in particular, because of the Triforce hunt, which like didn't tickle the brain the way that like a dungeon does. Like, I would find a Triforce shard and it did not feel significant. Like, because the Triforce did not hold any. That word held no significance to me as a kid. This was my first Zelda.
Yeah.
So like. It was like, you need to find the Triforce shards, and it mentions that like one time, and then you start playing, and like the game gives you zero direction on where to go and everything, and you just have to explore the Great Sea, and it's gigantic, and you like, rupees are important for the first time ever, and treasure charts are important for the first time ever. And
yeah. And plus it was just that like the Great Sea theme combined with like kind of, wanting to be a pirate. Every little kid wants to be a pirate.
Yeah.
Plus the sense of exploration.
Oh my god, like, yeah. Like you could find anything. Like finding the cabana the first time. I love. What is this?
I loved just sailing the open sea, not really going towards anything, and discovering small islands, mysteries, and stuff like that. Obviously, like, games that come later do it better, but, like, at the time, like, it just, that sense of exploration was everything to me.
I don't think any Zelda gave me the sense of exploration Wind Waker did until Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. It was, and, like, again, like, I think this was my first full Zelda game. Like, I had messed with Ocarina of Time before, I think.
Yeah, I hadn't.
But
this was my very first.
This was the first one I, like, sat down and played. Like, I definitely, when I say mess with, I saw it at friends' houses and stuff.
This might have been my first GameCube game, actually. I think I had this and, like, the GameCube demo disc. I had both. And, like, yeah,
Gosh, now I kind of want to give a shout-out to Super Smash Bros. Melee 2, which is not on my list.
Wow.
Yeah, I totally forgot about it, yeah.
No, yeah, Wind Waker... Yeah, I just played it, and I played it. I do remember, like, it's not a flawless game. Like, I was just talking about the Triforce Hunt, and I remember, like, one of my favorite memories of Wind Waker was, like, just pointing my boat in the direction I needed to go, and knowing it would take me forever to get there, so I would get up and go do something else.
Really?
Yeah,
no, I would never do that.
I'd hope that I survived. Because, like, it's not, atmospherically, it's a very good game, but, like, if you're sailing at night, there's not even music playing.
Yeah.
It's dead silent. It's just your boat on the... Which, like, to me as an adult, that's beautiful. Like, that works really well. To me, at, like, 6 or 7 years old, I'm like, well, this sucks. Like, I wanted to hear the good...
That Great Sea theme is something else. Yeah.
And I just remember... I actually have a really, really stupid story about not being a very strong reader when I played this game. I misread sail as seal on Windfall Island, and I spent hours wandering this island looking for a seal and having no idea why, like the animal seal. And I looked everywhere and obviously did not find it. And I finally had my dad come in and help me, and he was like, "This says sail,
son.
You could buy it."
Sail.
Right there. Yeah, it says sail in bright red text.
Like, they even highlighted it for you. Oh man, no, Zelda. Wind Waker is such a special game to me. Like, I've said it before, I'll say it again, probably my favorite Zelda.
It's my most played.
Even over Breath of the Wild. It's my most played Zelda, for sure. It's the one I played over and over again. The second they put that on Switch, I'm getting it.
I would probably as well. I actually don't own it right now. I don't have it on GameCube anymore.
I only have it on GameCube, yeah.
I never bought it on Wii U. I don't actually...
Yeah, I didn't either.
The Swift Sail and the changes to the Triforce Hunt are good. The art style change actually made me not want it, though. I hate I hate.
Did they change the art style, like shading or something?
Yeah, they added like a ton of bloom. Like they were really overbearing with lighting effects, and it looks really bad on the Wii U, in my opinion. And yeah, the original GameCube looks way better if you upscale it, or even if you don't. If you have a CRT, it looks way better on GameCube, and plus the GameCube controller and.
Yeah, and we've sang Wind Waker's praises, I think, before on the show too. Yeah. But like, just the concept of conducting the winds with a baton is so neat. You know, like Zelda always comes up with these interesting like musical gameplay based things, and I love it for it.
And this was like the first open world, quote unquote. I mean, you couldn't go everywhere because you needed items, but this was the first open game I'd ever played where like. It was really just like you and your boat and you go do stuff. Like, you know, you need to look around and find where to go next.
Yeah, by the time I beat Ganon at the end of this game, I felt like I had gone on a massive journey.
Yeah.
Like, a
multi-year... I had the game guide. That's how I got through the Triforce hunt.
Oh, really? I did it all myself, and it just felt like a massive accomplishment at the time. And, like, felt like such an incredible journey. And I remember, like... After beating it, you get like Link's pajamas, his like blue costume or whatever, and I just played through the whole game again. Like,
there
like
was
that.
new stuff if you played through it that way.
Yeah,
you could read the Hylian text now.
Yeah,
I never did that, but
it's a very special game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I used to replay that game like once a year. I didn't finish it typically, but I would get at least as far as the Tower of the Gods.
Yeah,
which is like halfway.
Yeah, I remember. I obviously I've replayed it a lot. You know, a lot of times completely through, but a lot of times, you know, not completely through. And I'd always at least get past the first dungeon. Like, I always remember, like, that first fight, like, with Goma, and you have the grappling...
Dude, the music on that island
and it was just... Oh, yeah. Dragon Ghost Island, yeah.
I went to go see the Zelda Symphony in Pittsburgh when I was in high school. And
dude, I was at that concert.
Really?
Yeah.
The first time they ever played it? Yeah, I was there. Yeah,
wow, that's really funny.
We were in high school.
I remember I had a biology exam the next day, and I said, screw it. I'll just tank the exam.
That's so... Yeah,
I just wanted to see it so
This was
bad.
the first time my little brother had ever skipped school to go do something, was because we got home pretty... I still went to school the next day because I was just like, whatever.
I performed poorly on my biology test,
I remember my little siblings on the way home were like, what? They were like coming up with this lie that they were going to tell all their teachers, but like, why? And I was just like, they're not going to ask, guys. You just don't go. Like, nobody's going to ask why you weren't there. It was funny. So... Yeah, but that moment, like when they announced that they were playing it for the first time, I was like, chills. Yeah. Like,
it's a beautiful game. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, and the atmosphere, like the atmosphere of the Deku Tree.
Yeah, they nailed it. They nailed it so hard, and like I'm convinced that it's still the best Zelda game. Like obviously Breath of the Wild.
It's the best classic style Zelda game.
Yeah, best classic Zelda.
Because Breath of the Wild is so different. It's
an entirely different game almost. Yeah.
Breath of the Wild has as much in common with Zelda 2 as it does.
Maybe if they add like dungeons to Breath of the Wild 2, then it could be like probably the best Zelda like that was or ever will be or whatever. But to this day, for me at least, it's still Wind Waker.
Yeah. I think that's all I got to say about Wind Waker. I'll pass it over to you.
So my next game is Paper Mario.
The first one?
Yeah, the first one.
Wow.
Yeah. So, obviously, the Thousand Year Door is the one that's beloved and is, by all metrics, I think, the better game.
Yeah.
But Paper Mario is special to me because, like, I think this is what introduced me, more so than Pokemon, right? Like,
you played this on N64 as a kid?
Yeah, N64, yeah. So, this is what introduced me to turn-based RPGs, right? Like, Pokemon is a turn-based RPG, right? But, like...
You played this first?
No. Sorry.
Okay.
But let me clarify. Like Pokemon was always like its
Pokemon
own thing
lives in its own category.
I didn't really associate it with other turn-based RPGs
because it's not about the fighting. It's about the
But with Paper Mario, like then this game sort of opened up that genre to me, and then I played all sorts of turn-based RPGs on like Game Boy and stuff like that. Then obviously like on more advanced systems later, but like. Yeah, Paper Mario is another one of those cases where like it was just like the charm was dialed up to 11. It was just. And the writing was so sharp. Like, it was funny and sharp. Like, even by, like, today's standards, you know, like, it wasn't, like, it wasn't childish, right? Like...
Is that the one with Goombario?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
And
Goombario's the first one you get.
Yeah. Is Koops in that as well, or is he in...
Koops is in Thousand Year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love Goombario.
Yeah, just that journey of, like, I remember, like, going through, collecting all the stars, gaining all their powers, and just, like... Mario as an RPG was such a novel concept, I feel like. And, like, obviously they've done other Mario RPG games.
Yeah,
but
this
like,
wasn't even the first. But.
Yeah, but, like, to me, like, you know, like, integrating, like, and again, like, it wasn't just strictly turn-based, too, because, like, your controls had some actions, like how you, like, pulled back the hammer,
which
like,
is super
timing
important to
the double jumps.
Turn-based,
Yeah, so, like, it wasn't just, like, Pokemon where you, like, select attack, does attack, right? Like, it was more active than that, and I definitely want to applaud it for that, but, like, yeah, I just think it was ultra charming, honestly, and, like, it introduced me into turn-based RPGs in a way that Pokemon did not. And I think that alone is enough to own it get it a spot on this list.
Yeah.
And you know, it's funny, like couple years ago, I did replay it. Like, I emulated it just because, like, I really wanted to play it again. First time in, like, you know, since N64 that I had played this game. And it still held up. It was an incredible game.
It looks really good today too. Yeah, I watched a playthrough of it not super long ago, and it's a good game. I'm not a big turn-based RPG. It takes a pretty good game for me to get into that, but
yeah, and like obviously like we had Paper Mario and then the Thousand Year Door, and then it was kind of downhill from there. But
I like Super Paper Mario.
It wasn't the same to me.
It's not the same at all.
Yeah. It had that chameleon dude.
Yeah, the otaku or the weeaboo chameleon. Yeah,
the nerd.
Yeah, the nerd.
Nerd.
And it's actually funny, like
a fan site was actually named after like
that's awesome.
The website he used to post pictures of butterflies or whatever.
That's really funny.
Like the weird fetish website that chameleon used.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's funny because like if I try and remember a lot of the details right now for Paper Mario, I really can't. I just like this because like when I replayed it, I played like half of it, but I didn't finish.
Well, it also like the writing style of Paper Mario is such that it like hits you constantly with like stuff, and it's like you're not going to remember.
It's really
all of it.
sharp. Like the writing, I don't know how else to describe it. Like it's punchy.
Yeah, punchy's good.
Yeah, it's one of those games where like it had such a strong impression on me, even though I can't remember a lot of the details. I know in my heart that this is a very special game that really influenced my tastes. So I felt compelled to put it on my list.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I have much more to say beyond that. So
I haven't played it, so
yeah.
Now my next game up is Mass Effect.
Yeah. No surprise.
Yeah. No surprise. That's the one game that I played through, the original Mass Effect. I think there's a period of my life, and I think I've told this before, where every weekend or every week I'd start a new playthrough of Mass Effect.
And you'd finish it?
And I'd finish it 3 days later.
Wow.
I think my peak was like 2 days.
That's a
2 days cycle to finish Mass Effect.
Which was the one you speedrun?
3.
Yeah. Okay, story mode.
3's the one I speedrun. Now 2 I would do 2 days just in and out continuously.
Those are not short games.
It's a phenomenal game.
It's a really good game.
I still think
summer when I was in high school or whatever.
Yeah.
No, middle school.
I don't know. I think story-wise, it might still be the best Mass Effect.
The first one?
If I think about it, right? Because, like, 2 is really good, but it all builds to the suicide mission at the end, and, like... What?
Spoilers.
You're never going to play Mass Effect.
I might have! Now I'm not!
It's an old game! They just released the remastered trilogy.
No, I think I have audio of you on this very show saying I'm never going to play Mass Effect. So
I don't think
I'm pretty sure you said that.
I've thought about playing it before.
I've heard you say those words before. But
the remastered.
I mean,
don't play the original.
It's just the title, right? Like it doesn't mean like everyone dies at the end. Like, but like,
everyone can die. At the
everyone
end.
could die at the end. Yeah, if you mess it up. But like,
no one can die in one.
But yeah, Mass Effect. You know, like I was talking about Dragon Age and like how it
potentially.
I was talking about Dragon Age and how, you know, like, it had those choices that carry over, and, like, I was kind of disappointed a lot of choices from Dragon Age 1 didn't carry over to Dragon Age 2. Mass Effect...
Didn't have that problem.
Didn't have that problem
Didn't have that problem. Every choice she made carried over in some way,
to this day,
form.
in terms of cross-game carryover, no game does it better than Mass Effect, I would argue.
Pokemon.
Pokemon's
pretty good.
Pokemon's
pretty good.
Yeah, but it doesn't carry
What are you
over,
talking
like,
about?
Decisions.
Oh, you mean like Pokemon?
Yeah, you can carry.
No, but like actual story decisions impact the world and the story.
It's
in the
like
next
if you kick Giovanni out of a gym in Viridian City or whatever.
That carries over into Silver.
But
kicking Giovanni out of the gym was the only thing you could do, though.
Because you evict Giovanni, and then like 4 games later in Pokemon Emerald, Giovanni comes back. It's like, this kid kicked me out of a gym 4 games ago.
Now I'm gonna murder him. Yeah,
I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah, but the beginning of all that was Mass Effect. So
yeah, Mass Effect did a really good job on the cross save system, and it's a trilogy that I hold dear.
Yeah.
It's a game that I hold dear.
Which is why Andromeda hurt so badly.
Yeah, Andromeda burned me. It hurt me.
Did they announce a new Mass Effect?
Yeah, it's in development.
In development right now.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Good luck.
Probably.
Yeah.
I've been burnt once before, but you know what? I keep coming back.
But it's funny to me, like, because, like, regardless of what they do to it now, like, I still, like, I got the Mass Effect Remaster trilogy.
Yeah, the remastered
It's still,
is all
it holds up just as well, if not, I feel like
Mass
it's
Effect
better.
1's so
Mass
much
Effect is better now than it was back then.
It's a better game, fundamentally, because they added all this crap to it. Like, the Mako has a boost.
Yeah, it's not as tedious anymore.
Yeah.
I remember, like, reading in Game Informer about Mass Effect and, like, them talking about, like, the decisions you can make and stuff.
Yeah.
And my kid brain was like...
Yeah, it's...
Like, I didn't understand at all.
It was a revolutionary game,
Yeah, it really did wonders for the narrative systems of games that came forward.
Yeah, I would say the only reason I didn't play it is that I didn't have an Xbox. Like...
Yeah, it was Xbox only for a while, I forgot
I also didn't have a PlayStation.
Yeah.
I was a Wii kid, so it was not on the Wii.
Hey, Mass Effect 3 was on the Wii.
Really?
Wii U.
Oh, maybe
I think
Wii
it was
U.
Wii U,
Yeah,
I
I
think it
was
was
gonna say because the Wii, no.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, EA thought about it.
But, like,
how
I
can
don't
we
know,
market
like...
this thing to these Wii kids?
Just, like, I'm someone who loves space and, like, space stories. So, like, Mass Effect to me was just, like, when it came out...
I like planes.
Yeah, I know you like
planes.
But, like, when it came out, I was like, this is the perfect video game. Like, this video game was made for me. Like, and...
All I'm saying is if space and planes combined together, you get Mass Effect.
That is true. I think.
Boom, space planes.
I don't think of flying a lot when I think of Mass Effect, though. Are there actually, like, a lot of ship missions and stuff?
No.
No.
Okay.
You're just doing the Normandy.
It's more of like a Star Trek type thing where you can you go around your ship, talk to people, and
that
like,
makes sense.
Chat them up.
Like that.
Tell them to go away. Tell them we'll bang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will bang. Yes, please.
But yeah, no, I just think back to the story, like, potential of Mass Effect, like, the whole thing with the Reapers and...
You didn't even know who the Reapers were
and the
until well into
Protheans.
the first game.
Yeah, and the Protheans, but just, like, that mystery there and this menace of, like, this universe-ending machine threat. And it was just, like, you felt that in the first Mass Effect game. You know, you could argue, like, whether they successfully executed on that story vision in the subsequent games, but the potential in Mass Effect... Like, if you just play that game, you're like, oh my god, this story's going to be incredible. Like,
oh, yeah. And Mass Effect 2 rolls through. It's like, oh my god, there's more?
Yeah.
This is what the Protheans are? Oh, no.
And then 3 is kind of like, oh, well.
Oh, they're here.
Yeah.
Neat.
3 gets remembered for the original ending, I think, a little too much. Maybe more so than is fair.
I don't think it... Like, a lot of people say it ruins Mass Effect for them. I don't agree with that at all. Like,
I will say it's the reason I never played them as a kid.
As
even
someone
after I got a
who's
PlayStation.
played through Mass Effect 3 more times than is healthy...
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
I mean, Mass Effect 3 has the best gameplay out of the series.
The meme about the ending is the reason I've never...
Do you think I enjoyed the gameplay while speedrunning it? I didn't get to play the game.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's more of a pleasure to actually play than 1 and 2.
It was a pleasure to run through.
Yeah.
And just not fight any enemies unless the door required me to.
Yeah, but I didn't want to hijack your thing, but, like, I just wanted to say my piece about Mass Effect because, like, it's special to me, too.
I've got nothing else.
All right.
Okay, yeah. Persona 5 is my next one. Persona 5 makes my list. It's probably...
You haven't even beaten it, and it makes your list.
It's not, no. Well, yeah, because weirdly, it got me to play a bunch of other games that I would not have played had I not played.
Shin Megami Tensei, and
no,
play SMT4.
No, all those games look terrible to me, actually.
Putting this on the record, if I were to redo this list right now, Persona 4 Golden would be on it. And I totally forgot.
Wild that it's not.
I forgot it. You know, it's hard. You know, 10 games, man, it's too tough.
Persona 5, for me, though, I thought I hated JRPGs and turn-based combat, but I liked the style of Persona enough to give it a chance anyway. I liked watching my friend play it a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, I liked it enough, and it got me to give Dragon Quest a chance. It got me to give Final Fantasy a chance.
Yeah.
And, like, I ended up really liking those games as well, and I was like, oh, maybe I've just played bad JRPGs, which is true, because it was Pokemon. But it's neither here nor there. Bad turn-based combat, at least. Because, like, Final Fantasy 15 was not turn-based at all. But, yeah, my only exposure to turn-based combat was Pokemon, which is not good turn-based combat a lot of the time.
Even as a JRPG, Persona 5 is something special,
It's
right?
immaculate, yeah.
No other... like, even the Persona series in general does this unique thing of blending JRPG with, like...
Yeah, with, like, Animal Crossing
sim
style.
elements,
yeah,
you know,
like a life sim, yeah, where I, like, get to make these friends and stuff, and I really, really liked that.
So good,
Like,
yeah.
that's why I'm not going to play Shin Megami Tensei, because, like, combat alone... Persona does not sound fun to me. Like, you need those social elements for me.
And especially the way, like, the two halves of Persona feed into each other and just make the other better. It's a brilliant...
And the way the writing handles all of that, it's extremely good. But then it also, like, you know, I liked Persona, so I was like, you know what, Dragon Quest XI's on Game Pass. I'll give that a shot, you know? I like Toriyama and his art style, so maybe I'll like it. And I ended up, like... Talking about the Dragon Quest XI story is really hard because it's not interesting, if that makes sense. It's like very good Saturday morning cartoon. Like, you know what's gonna happen. You know what you're gonna get, but it's still
that's a record.
It's still good anyway.
Yeah,
it's a very fun game, and so. But yeah, I would have never played that. I would have never played Final Fantasy 15, which I really like the story of and everything. But Persona was what like opened my heart to the JRPG.
And then stole it.
Yeah,
stole your heart.
Stole my heart for the.
Yeah. Persona 5.
Persona jokes.
I think there's a very real argument to be made that Persona 5 is the best JRPG ever made.
Very real. Yeah.
Like it's an incredible game.
Yeah, it definitely has the best combat of any JRPG I've ever played because like I don't hate it.
Yeah, I mean, just like the stylishness of it, like even the basic, like you go to the doctor and open up the menu to buy some medicine, and you're bombarded by these flamboyant animations. I'm like, my god,
smooth jazz.
Yeah, it's like
I call it the jazz.
You can tell that.
Menus. Yeah, I love when people joke that Persona 5 invented jazz.
It's one of those games where you know you can
to
feel the love and care that went into every aspect of that game.
Yeah.
Like the soundtrack, the menus, like every single thing.
There's no other game that long, because like, Persona 5 is a very long game.
100+ hour game,
have not finished, but a lot of people did replay that entire game for Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah, it's wild.
And I want to, but I don't know if I have it in me.
Yeah. I'd still tell myself one of these days I'm going to sit through Persona 5 Royal, like all of it.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of moments
and
that
I've played Persona 4 Golden, which is like an 80-hour game, like multiple times.
Yeah.
Like Persona just does something, man. Does something right.
Yeah, but I think that's like the only game I can think of that like made me start playing a genre I thought I hated. Like, so that was really impressive.
Yeah.
It's a good video game.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's an excellent game. All right, we're down to 2 left, at least on my list. So
2 left for me as well.
Here we go.
We've had some shared ones. So
okay.
Yeah.
So I get exclusive.
Yeah, you get to
So I want to talk about Journey.
Wow.
So Journey is, for people who don't know, right? It was an indie game on PlayStation 3. I don't know if it came to any other systems.
It did not at the time,
but
it later came to PC. I think
it was a game where like it was a very short game. Like you could beat it in under 2 hours. Actually, it's very hard to not beat it in 2 hours, right? Like the average play time is like an hour, 20 minutes, hour and a half.
Yeah.
But it is you go on a journey through this game, right? Like you start as this like scarfed figure in the desert, like you're this red cloth figure in the desert, and the game starts by showing you this faraway mountain, this summit, and the whole game is just you climbing or getting to that mountain and climbing it to the top,
but not getting over it.
Yeah, not getting over it. No,
there's no.
I feel like this game for you is like what Gone Home was for me.
I think so.
Open your eyes to the pretentious indie game.
You took the words out of my mouth.
Is getting over it by Benefati a pretentious indie game?
It definitely is. Yeah,
absolutely.
That explains why
in a different way, but
I hated how pretentious it was.
Someone waxes poetically to you the entire time. Like they like just
it just made
muse
me
philosophically.
I'm like, this is not fun. This is just masochism.
Masochism.
But anyway, with Journey though, like it opened my eyes to indie games straight up. Like I had not played indie games before Journey, right? Like, and I was just like, okay, smaller games can be made like this and have this much impact. I was in tears by the time Journey ended. Like and I've talked to different people. Like some people it does nothing for them.
I liked it.
Some people it really strikes an emotional core somehow with them.
I shamefully did not play this until it was free on PS4.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But like I played it, and so the interesting thing about Journey is it had this kind of like this multiplayer aspect to it too.
Yeah,
where like one other person you could encounter on their way up. Like only one though. Like you can't form groups of like 3 or more, right? Like so you can encounter one other person, and there's no way of communicating with this person other than through like little like chirps or whatever.
Yeah. You sing out.
But it's amazing how expressive you can be with just those little chirps, you know, with there's no language barriers or anything like that. You don't know if the person on the other side, you know, speaks an entirely different language from you, but you could communicate intent through these little chirps that the game lets you do. And it's weird because you can't actually talk to the person and they're on this like same journey as you form a connection with this person, you know, like, and I remember I met like someone like going up the mountain and we like basically did the entire journey together, you know, and like, and obviously, you know, like it's very, I'm going to spoil Journey.
Yeah, it's not a super spoilable game, I don't think.
It's not, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to if someone was interested, but there you go, here's your warning. But like, towards the end of the journey, you're climbing up the mountain, you're freezing to death, and you basically freeze, right? Yeah. And then you freeze, and it looks like you die. And then the last section of the game is basically you soaring above the clouds into the mountain summit. And it's very ambiguous. Like, you don't know if you died on the mountain and, like, went to heaven or whatever, or if, you know, like, you were actually helped out by some spirit on your journey up. And you can think of it either way. I kind of lean towards the former. Yeah. Like, I feel like that's what it is. But I'm getting chills just thinking about it. But, like, that very final flight, like when you're flying, because like the entire game you could only like move slowly through the sand or snow or jump, right? Like, and you finally are liberated at the end, you know, like you're struggling up this mountain, you're liberated, and then you're flying up to your final destination, wherever that might be, you know, like you don't know what lies beyond, but like you're flying and then that soundtrack kicks in. Yeah, that is one of the most haunting, beautiful soundtracks I've heard in a video game, period. Like, that soundtrack that kicks in as you're flying up to the mountain, and that as you reach the light on the top of the mountain and the game ends, that's one of the most profound moments I've ever had in a video game. Yeah. Like, period. Like, I'm actually a little cold just talking about it right now because I'm remembering how that made me feel. But like, just for that feeling alone, I was just like, I can never discount a video game based off length. I can never discount a video game based off, like, whether it's AAA, AA, single A, whatever, indie. Yeah. It's just, like, games of any way, shape, size, form, length, have the power to impact me like this. And that really hammered home that lesson, and that's why Journey is on this list.
Yeah, Journey is also just a masterclass in, like, giving emotion through mechanics, because, like... Yeah. You're going up the mountain, but there's a very important part towards the beginning of the game where you start sliding down a slope.
Yeah, the sand. Yeah.
And like,
it was exhilarating. Like,
like it just, I can't. It's very difficult to explain.
It's one of my most special games. Like it took me a very, very long time before I replayed Journey because like I just held on to that experience for so long. But like, it is, even to this day, there's nothing quite like Journey, I think. Yeah. And you owe it to yourself if you like video games. It's not even 2 hours long. Yeah. And it has the potential to change how you see video games. Like, that's what it did for me. So.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. All right, Mike.
So my next game is actually the original Star Wars Battlefront.
That Battlefront 2 was very close to getting on my list as my first shooter.
Battlefront. The two are kind of also mashed together in my brain. Because there was a lot of times where I'd just go to friends to play it.
Yeah, there's a very good chance I didn't know which one I was playing.
Yeah, there was a very good... Well, we knew. We played Battlefront up until Battlefront 2 released, and then we just played Battlefront 2. There was a lot of fond memories of messing around in the cantina.
Conquest in Battlefront 2.
Conquest in Battlefront 2, the hero fight or whatever.
Yeah, the hero fight. I love the space battles in Conquest, though.
Oh, yeah. Space battles were good. The game was just... It was like a peak.
Being able to, like, no game that I can think of hits quite like being able to land in the enemy ship in a space battle, get out of the ship, and go start destroying their ship from the inside. Yeah. I can't think of any other game that has something that cool that you can do. Like that, it was super high skill floor to be able to do it because you had to survive on the enemy ship. But, like, the few times me and my friend managed to do it, even against the AI, like,
Yeah, I was... I'm like half asleep, so I'm struggling to think right now.
Oh, you're good.
But it's one of those games that it hits you right. I still go back and play it sometimes.
And it really is like both the original and 2 really show like EA had it right back in the day, or was it even?
It wasn't EA.
It was LucasArts.
LucasArts and Pandemic, I believe.
They had it right. Like the newer games, while fun, don't capture that same energy.
No, they don't have that same chaotic energy. They're more structured.
Well,
they're more.
To be fair, I never really gave Battlefront 2 a shot.
Battlefront 2 was, or you mean the new one?
The new one.
Yeah, it was
Streamlined.
It was all right.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know. It wasn't special like the originals. Like,
yeah.
In my opinion.
That's
and this
fair.
is coming from someone who never even owned them. Like, I just played them at friends' houses.
Yeah, me
and
too.
I realized like
I own that now.
This is an incredible game.
Yeah, they're special. They're
okay. One complaint though, and this is super common in gaming, but they took the split screen out of the PC port. And come on, guys! Like, people have controllers. Let me play my split screen Battlefront on my PC.
Tiny little monitor.
Yeah, my tiny little monitor. You see right there. Yeah, like,
tiny little
my tiny little 52-inch monitor that I play my PC games on.
Well, most people don't have 52-inch.
Actually, no, it's a 65-inch.
My monitor is 30, not even 30.
It's actually a TV.
Like 16 inches.
For those at home, I was pointing at my television that my PC is hooked up to.
Yeah, I had a television once. Took an arrow to the knee.
All right.
All right, that's enough about Battlefront.
Okay.
Right.
I think my next one's going to be Spelunky. And when I say Spelunky, it is important for me to point out that this is Spelunky Classic, not Spelunky HD on the Xbox. Mm-hmm. Although Spelunky HD is super important to gaming culturally because it's like one of the very first indie darlings on like Xbox Live Arcade. In like Braid. I think it was in the Braid engine. Like, it was wild. But, yeah, I downloaded Spelunky Classic. I just saw it on like Yo-Yo Games because I was into Game Maker as a kid, and I didn't know that it was going to be this big thing. I didn't know that there was a community around it or anything, but I just downloaded Spelunky Classic, and I was like, I played a lot of games that I saw on the Game Maker forums and stuff, and this game was colossal compared to those. Like, I'd never pulled down like a free game with no monetization at all, like a free game that I could not see all of because you had to keep playing it and get better. And like, I don't think I ever made it past like the Underground Jungle, which is the second area, playing it as a kid. But I remember me and my buddy Antonio, we played Spelunky a ton, and this is my first roguelike.
Yeah.
You know, this got me into what is probably my favorite genre of game. And just incredible game. Like, so many possibilities and all. And like, you know, permadeath that like, you know, you could save your high scores and compare them with your friends, which was something that was not really a thing to me. Like, you know, that was a super big thing in the 80s and maybe early 90s, but I missed all of that. So Spelunky was like the first game I was interested in comparing a high score with my friends, which was kind of interesting. And I was pretty good at it compared to my friends, which felt very good because I had a lot of platformer experience. And yeah, I played a lot of Spelunky. And it was like a game small enough. I had it on a flash drive. I would take it to school and play it on the school computers and stuff, which I probably would have gotten in a lot of trouble for.
Oh, yeah.
But I did it. I played it. I was working for my dad. I played it in his office on the laptop he gave me. And like, I was playing this game all the time. Yeah, well, I worked some, but I was in middle school.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
But yeah, oh my god, I played a lot of Spelunky. And yeah, like now, you know, Noita like definitely can trace some things back to Spelunky, a lot of things back to Spelunky.
Any roguelike, really.
Any roguelite, yeah. Because like obviously roguelikes trace back to Rogue.
Yeah.
But yeah, this introduced me to like, you know, Spelunky was the gateway to like Dwarf Fortress, you know, like
my gateway to Dwarf Fortress was high school. Some man discussed his trap hallway. I'm like, what game is this?
Yeah,
what game allows me to create?
It's like The Sims, but you torture them. Yeah, but yeah, Spelunky it was just so replayable. Like, you know, I never really got bored of that opening area.
Last game on this list
was Spelunky. But yeah, I don't think I have a whole lot more to say about it. Just like, it really opened my eyes to the roguelike. And like, Spelunky Classic I could recommend to anybody because it's free. You know, you can just look up Spelunky Classic and play it and have a very good time.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll change your tastes.
I mean, I already really enjoy them, but I haven't really played Spelunky, so
really,
definitely one on the list.
I highly recommend. Spelunky 2 is incredible, but I would play Spelunky 1 first because Spelunky 2 is actually harder in my opinion and a little wackier, maybe in ways that you won't appreciate without the first one.
Yeah.
But I'll pass the ball back to you.
So just, I guess, checking in. I have one game left.
I have one game left.
I have two.
Okay, so it'll go me, Mike, Connor, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay. So my final game is Halo 3. I had to put Halo 3 on this list. It is, I think, the first online multiplayer game I had ever played.
Wow.
So I wasn't really an online multiplayer guy. You know, like 8th grade was the first time I played an online multiplayer game. Or first time I owned one, rather. And I just remembered, like, at the time, like, Xbox 360 was on top of the world, and everyone, like, I had not played Halo 1 and 2. Yeah. But, like, everyone was ready for Finish the Fight. You know, like, everyone, like, Halo 3
I've seen the trailers.
had taken over the entire world.
Yeah.
And I still remember, like, I remember playing Halo 1 and 2 at friends' houses.
Master Chief with the Mountain Dew.
And I always thought it was cool. But, like, I put in Halo 3 and hear that music and just that menu music. And I was just like, oh my god, this is going to be something special.
You open up that game, you hear that music, you open up your can of Master Chief Mountain Dew. There's a finite number of those left, too.
Yeah.
Like the what is it, like blood orange?
I don't know.
Mountain Dew, Gamer
Fuel. I remember my friends getting Halo 3. Like, this was Halo 3 coming out was an event in my life, despite me not caring about Halo.
People are opening up cans of Master Chief Mountain Dew.
And I would argue to this day, you know, even with Halo Infinite coming out, Halo has not seen an event like that.
It can't. No.
Yeah, like,
I mean, Halo Infinite, I think, is going to go down as a better game than Halo 3.
No.
Absolutely, it plays so much better. Like, it is infinitely better.
You gotta think of that time factor.
Yeah, I feel like the story and everything would probably put Halo 3
maybe. We haven't played the story yet.
But like, Halo 3 was the culmination of, like, so much stuff. But, like, I don't... Again, like, this is coming from someone who doesn't really care about the story in Halo, so...
I care
a lot of people do care, yeah.
I read the books.
But yeah,
I read a lot of the books.
But it wasn't like
Brian David Gilbert.
Obviously, like, the multiplayer is the big reason Halo 3 is on this list for me.
I do when I get drunk? I just yell about Halo War.
But yeah, like, I remember playing the campaign. You know, like, playing it with my friends and, like, stuff like that too. And I remember, like, really sort of challenging myself once I felt like pretty competent at Halo. I played through the entire campaign, like, solo on Legendary.
Yeah.
And that was definitely an experience.
Halo 3 actually, funny enough, had, like, a huge impact on my life because I was not allowed to play it. And I would go over to my friends' houses, and it's all they would want to do.
Yeah.
And so I would be the one sitting in the corner not allowed to play while they played Halo 3. And so I hated these games for a long time. I was, like, furious with them for, like, ruining my life. Yeah.
No, but obviously the big draw for me was multiplayer. Like, I remember those days. Like, I'd come home after school, get on Halo 3, all my friends would be there.
Yeah.
We'd play online, we'd play these custom games, we'd find these crazy custom maps and play them, and, like, these modes too, like crazy, like, zombie modes and stuff like that, and it was just an absolute blast. And I would still say, you know, like I've said it before, probably the most fun I've had playing a video game is Halo 3 multiplayer with my friends. Like, it was just...
Having played Halo Infinite, I can absolutely believe that.
It was
because, like,
such a blast. Like,
it is really fun to play, like, a Halo game that feels new.
Yeah,
you know?
like, and yeah. And
So,
Halo 4 and 5 definitely didn't capture that feeling.
Yeah, I didn't play 5. I played 4. Halo 4 is the only... Halo 1 and Halo 4 are the only campaigns I've finished. And I really like the Halo 4 campaign.
Really?
Yeah.
But yeah, Halo 3... Like, and plus, like, Forge was such a creative tool. And, like, you could do so many neat things with it. And that led to so many really kind of innovative maps and game modes that the community
Did you make
would share.
stuff in Forge?
I dabbled with Forge.
Did it get you into game development? Like,
No, I didn't.
No?
But, like...
No.
But obviously...
Forge? That was
I mean, it's not like it's not like game. You're just like placing assets, right?
Yeah,
it's not like logic.
Halo
I'm pretty sure there was some you could do game logic wise.
No,
I don't think so.
Halo
Not in
rule
3.
sets. Okay, was that?
Yeah.
3 was super limited. Reach was a little less limited. 4 was a little less than that. And then 5 was where they really opened it up for custom modes.
Allegedly, the Infinite one's going to be nutty, but it's not
Still
coming
not out
until
yet,
like May. So
yeah, the 3 Forge, you could create infinite explosions, and those were always fun.
that
to
is
fight.
always fun. Yeah,
But
Those were boss fights.
it's funny to say there's a group of friends that I have that still, whenever we get together, we boot up Halo 3.
I believe
like,
it.
We still boot up Halo 3. And that game has not gotten old for us. It's still just as fun today that it was.
That's funny.
Like a decade plus ago. So Halo 3 is an extremely special game to me.
Mm-hmm.
That is my top 10.
All right, my next game is. Did you know Master Chief is Child Soldier? No, it's Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah,
I'm applauding right now.
Yeah.
I'm glad someone had the stones to put this on the list.
It was my introduction to hour-long cutscenes, and my favorite button in all of video games: skip cutscenes.
It was my
You
introduction to
skipped
that
the
too.
cutscenes?
Yeah, my first playthrough, I skipped the cutscenes because I didn't have time to sit there for 4
I was
hours.
saying, it was my introduction to those things too, but you and I had vastly different reactions to them.
I loved The gameplay was so nice. The first playthrough, I was like, what is this game? And the second playthrough, I'm like, I have a railgun now. What is this game?
Yeah.
Third playthrough, I'm getting it. And then I read the lore.
Yeah.
And it was all over from there. I spent literal hours browsing the wiki.
I remember there was a companion app on the PlayStation 3, a companion app to Metal Gear Solid 4. It was actually just like a series of flowcharts, like explaining like different relationships and stuff in Metal Gear. I've never seen anything like it.
I got a PhD to learn to figure out how to play Metal Gear Solid 4.
You could go to school to understand. You know,
that's a college degree right there.
Metal Gear, yeah.
Even with the cutscenes, you still don't.
I just
know
thought like
who
he
these
launched
people
an
are.
entire like standalone app on PlayStation. Did you get that app? I forget what it was called. It was like Metal Gear Codex. I forget what it's called, but like you click on it and there's just like various like flowcharts and stuff you could explore.
Like,
and
who's this woman? Why is she so important?
4 had the first Metal Gear Online
she has
too,
the
right?
booba.
Yeah.
that's the summary of it.
There was an
Who's Rose?
Metal Gear Online.
Online mode, right?
Yeah, there was an online mode. I played it like once or twice.
Yeah, me
like,
too.
This is enjoyable. I'm gonna go back to shooting things with the railgun.
Yeah. See, I have this thing with stealth games where if I do not play them perfectly, I feel like I'm a failure and I can't finish them. I'm like, I think I would enjoy Metal Gear Solid a lot more if I would.
I didn't play Metal Gear Solid.
So Metal Gear, like Solid 1 and 2, I guess you could argue are stealth games, but Metal Gear Solid 4 has an immortal cyborg battling an immortal vampire while also cutting giant robots in half with his sword.
But
So
in between, you have to be sneaky.
yeah, and between that, you have to be sneaky.
You have to be sneaky. There's only one part where you have to really be sneaky. And
Was
that
it the
the hard
opening?
part. No.
No, there's this level in like London, right, where you're like in the trench cone.
Yeah, it's before
You're in the trench
fight,
cone and you're like following someone. I love that level.
See,
It's
I
before you
barely made it
fight
out of the desert.
Raven, whatever the Raven, screaming Raven,
Yeah.
laughing Raven,
It's a
angry
little fuzzy,
Raven,
yeah.
Raven.
I think the biggest,
Teen Titans, the
maybe
Raven.
the biggest weak point in that game were the bosses compared to previous Metal Gear Solid games.
I
'Cause
like
they're-
the bosses.
They're a little derivative from the
I
previous
feel
bosses.
they were like a combination of all the previous Metal Gear
Yeah.
Solid bosses, mainly because that was supposed to be Kojima's last Metal Gear game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was the farthest in the future.
It was.
So
Some people are still saying that he's secretly working on
There's
Metal Gear
no
6.
way.
There's no
No,
way.
no.
Yeah.
Konami sucks.
Yeah.
Konami's not gonna let that happen.
And Metal Gear 5, like, some of the best third-person gaplay ever made.
Yeah, I
like,
need to play
it
it
was
still.
phenomenal. Too bad the story didn't have those hour-long cutscenes. That's a big negative.
Yeah, that's
for
a
me,
big
actually.
thing. That's like the positive. like I remember my stepdad's like Uncharted. I told my stepdad at the time, I don't like Uncharted. There's too many cutscenes, and immediately would boot up Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah.
Oh, it was like,
That's a weird take, yeah.
I eventually
you want
did
to see
finish Uncharted
cutscenes?
2,
Yeah.
but Metal Gear Solid 4.
I could see not finishing Uncharted 1, yeah.
I
In
didn't
favor
actually
of
play
Metal Gear
Uncharted
Solid.
1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still remember, like...
My first Uncharted game was Uncharted 2, so I didn't know who any of those characters were, and I didn't know who these people were interacting with.
That's fine.
Who's Nathan Drake? Why is he it? Who's Sully? Why is he important? And why is he
They don't
always
tell you
wearing
any of
a
that in
Hawaiian
Uncharted
shirt?
1. Yeah.
But for Metal Gear 4, like, I still remember the ending to that game where Snake's, like, crawling through the microwave, and you're just mashing for dear life, and it's just, like...
No, my favorite part of Metal Gear Solid 4 is the fighting game on the roof.
Yeah, the ending of the game, it turns into, like, a 1v1 fighting game. Where, for the boss
against
fight
Liquid?
with Liquid Ocelot, yeah.
Liquid Ocelot, yeah. You just beat the crap out of each other.
You're pretty good. And
God.
then yeah, that donkey video,
Yeah.
totally accurate. I'm not kidding
I don't think
at
I've
all.
seen it.
Yeah, he summarizes the plot of Metal Gear, and it's like the most absurd thing you'll ever hear in your life. But
totally
it's
accurate.
100% accurate.
Metal Gear Rising Revengeance involves nanomachine. No, that's the furthest forward.
Yeah.
Revengeance is after 4 because Senator Armstrong was like nanomachine, son, and then and beats the crap out of Raiden.
Yeah.
I mean, even 4 was all about nanomachines. Like,
Yeah, but
Kojima's-
Armstrong, Armstrong did nothing wrong. All he wanted was no war by killing everybody.
Yeah.
But no war. He wanted to stop the war profiting. Armstrong did nothing
He
wrong,
loved
and he could
peace
make
with
a
all
killer
his heart.
omelet. He made the best omelets.
what a game. Metal Gear 4.
What a game.
I
didn't actually play Revengeance, but I'm privy to all the memes anyway.
I will stand Metal Gear 4 till the day I die.
Oh yeah, it's such a good.
Y'all can have
Game.
it.
I didn't even play it before it added. I played it before it added trophies.
Me
like,
too,
By the time
yeah.
it added trophies,
Yeah.
my copy of the game
must
had
have
either
killed you.
gotten.
I mean, at the time, I didn't really care.
I didn't care.
This was before
trophies.
trophies. Yeah.
Well, no, I played it while there were trophies, but before they added trophy support to that. By the time they added trophy support, my copy was so badly messed up
Yeah.
because of the way I treated game discs.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And I couldn't play the game, so I never got those trophies.
What a great game.
Great game.
Well, I am going to wrap up my list with probably the plainest pick possible. But it's Minecraft. Like, Minecraft absolutely, like, it was the first game I ever modded. It was, like, the first game I really had a community in, because I joined a Minecraft server not super long after buying it, and I stuck in that server for 10 years. Like, yeah. I still talk to those people occasionally.
Yeah, you didn't stick to my Minecraft server.
I tried, but we were never on at the same time.
Yeah, I'll be on during Extra Life. Don't worry.
Maybe. I didn't realize it was still up. I tried to connect the other day, and I couldn't.
Oh, uh-oh. I better check on that. I'm still paying for it.
I don't think it's updated. I think,
No, did you update your mod pack?
Yeah.
I think I updated the server recently.
Okay. Well, anyway, Minecraft, like, and modded Minecraft especially, because modded Minecraft, you know, that gateway opened me into, like, Factorio and Satisfactory and stuff, and I love those games now.
I mean, heck, even me, as someone who doesn't dabble with that sort of stuff, Minecraft was the first game I've modded,
yeah.
You know, like, so...
Yeah, playing Minecraft, like, and Minecraft is the only game on this list that, like, I'm playing not literally right now, but, like, I played Minecraft earlier this week.
Yeah, everyone's got a little Minecraft in their past.
Like, Minecraft just got 1.18, that update just came out, it's immaculate, it's really, really fun to play. Caves and Cliffs, Part 2, yeah. But yeah, Minecraft is just wild, and, like, it took the world by storm. I imagine, like, Minecraft is, like...
I mean, that's an understatement. It's the highest selling game of all time.
It's going to be on a lot of people. Like, if a lot of people were going to make a list like this, I feel like Minecraft would belong on a lot of them, because I bet it's a lot of people's first game.
If people 10 years younger than us were making this list, Fortnite would be on this list.
Fortnite would probably be on this list.
None of us are going to put that on there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't dislike Fortnite, but it's not Minecraft. Like,
it's not Minecraft.
Minecraft is wild. Like, that game is...
It's limitless possibility. That's what Minecraft is.
It is.
And Minecraft can be whatever you want it to be, essentially.
Yeah, it was probably the first, like I played Little Big Planet and stuff, but Minecraft was probably the first game I played that used creativity really as a mechanic in the core gameplay.
Yeah.
Where, you know, you were building stuff, and, you know, I liked Redstone as a kid.
Yeah, I love how, like, it goes as deep as you want it to go. Like, if you want to build, like a dirt hut and just live off that and just... You know, live your life that way, that's fine. If you want to learn complex circuitry and, like, create state machines, you can do that too.
So, my go-to strategy as a kid, I remember, was always to just dig into the side of a cave, because I wanted to play the game, I didn't want to build. Like, and, like, those, you know, now that just seems silly, because those are the same thing. The game is the building, but...
No, I mean, like, we've said it before on the show, everyone's got a Minecraft story.
Everyone has a Minecraft story.
It's one of those ubiquitous games. It's one of those games where, like, people who don't play games know what Minecraft is.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
I mean,
it's up there with, like, Pokemon. Like, everyone knows what these things are.
But yeah, no, that's my top 10.
Mike, do you want to round us
up? All right, I was gonna change a game up towards the end there. I don't remember what I was gonna change it to.
Just
do the original.
Yeah, my original was gonna be Age of Empires, which is another RTS.
Okay, yeah.
It's a great game.
So, I think it's close to the first RTS I played, roughly around the same time as Red Alert.
Mm-hmm.
Was the other side, because they're distinct in a way. But not Red Alert, Age of Empires, to this day I still have the entire priest chant wedged into the back of my brain, and sometimes it comes out when I'm bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so distinctive that I can remember it.
I can't relate. I've never played Age of Empires, so...
Oh man, that's a shame.
I thought about playing 4. It's new, but...
I played a lot. I didn't play as much 1 as I played 3. I played a lot of 3.
Mm-hmm.
Way too much 3. And always against AI. The game, it is a different take on an RTS, and it kind of inspired everything else after it. Like your StarCrafts and your Warcrafts, I believe.
Probably.
Oh yeah, it was hugely influential.
Yeah, it was massively influential. And I still know some of the cheat codes for the original one. Like pepperoni pizza gives you a lot of food.
Well, that makes sense, I guess.
I don't remember. I remember pepperoni pizza, and I think Woodstock was giving you 1,000 wood or whatever. But I don't remember the rest. It's all a blur. I'm half asleep at this point. I'm struggling.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of inclined to skip games we've been playing this episode.
I want to gush about Project Wingman, though. Again.
Yeah, let's, I mean, I think we kind of have to. But, like, yeah, we can make it quick, because we're already 2.5 hours deep.
I'll be the longest talk, because Project Wingman, it's got me. It took me.
Yeah.
I modded it. So, I finally made it to the last the good half of Project Wingman, starting at like Mission 11, where, oh man, you start this. I started it up on the highest difficulty after I finished the game. And to put this mission into perspective, it starts with an anime-style opening on the highest difficulty.
Yeah.
And the first thing
opening changes based on the difficulty?
It's just for this mission.
Okay.
It gives you like an anime title in the style of like Macross.
That's cool.
And instead of being Mission 11, it's Episode 11.
That's cool.
And the first thing you see is missile trails.
Uh-oh.
Lots of them. Because the plot of the mission is the Federation, which is the enemy factions, transports were intercepted. So some Air Force got sent. Then they sent more airplanes. Then you sent more airplanes. And now everyone's Air Force is all over the Bering Strait and ready to ball it out. It's... Oh, I love it. And the song... It's like the music for that level is the You Say Run of airplanes.
Yeah.
I understood that reference.
This is the one you've been listening to?
No, I listened to the penultimate levels theme, which is equally as good. Going on to the penultimate level.
Yeah.
It's Presidia. So up until that point, you witness a war crime where they bomb the crap out of a city with nuclear bombs and cause a second apocalypse.
Cool. Very cool of them to do
very
that.
Cool. Very, very, very war crimes. It's fine. You commit other war crimes at some point. I bombed a yacht.
Good.
Good. It's just... But this city's beautiful. It's green. You had just been pushed out of it 18 missions before.
Yeah.
So the themes are reprised with that. And, it's such a good song.
Yeah.
It's the one that appeared in my rap.
Yeah.
But it's a long mission, multi-stage, taking out ground units, taking out air units. God, I just can't gush about the freedom that you feel running through this battlefield.
Yeah.
Free. It's the thing about playing games. They're
fun to play. Yeah, it's wild.
They're wild.
They're good video games.
They're great
video games. They've come a long way since Pac-Man.
They really, really have. No, it's that sense of freedom that you don't get on like a ground-based first-person shooter.
Yeah.
Because you have three degrees of movement, and at roughly Mission 11, it finally becomes an Ace Combat game.
Yeah.
Because before that, it's like...
because Ace Combat's really anime, right? Like,
yeah, it's really anime, and it really stands out, and everyone wants to be Ace Combat. And then Project Wingman, from Mission 11 on, it becomes an Ace Combat game, and is worthy of competing with them, which is rare. Like, everything just scales up to the point where you as the pilot of the story, go from this mercenary to, oh god, it's him.
Yeah.
We're scared. To, please kill him.
Yeah.
Get him out of here. He's too much. And then the main antagonist comes and nukes it all. He does a little anime laugh, comes in, nukes the entire city.
So were you playing this on controller when you played it?
Yeah, I played on controller.
Okay.
I've seen people play it through on keyboard.
HOTAS. You know, HOTAS is like the attractive, but I don't have that.
It's also in VR.
I have the... Ooh.
The VR is so good.
Did you play the whole game in VR?
No, I've only played some missions in VR.
I was going to say...
It starts to lag on my computer, so I can't really...
I also feel like it's probably a little queasy, maybe after a while. No?
No.
Not at all?
No, not at all.
So I played Star Wars Squadrons. Similar deal in VR, and the VR is amazing, but it did make me a little queasy. I have a sensitive stomach though.
It might make you a little queasy. It didn't make me queasy, but then again, I was seated the entire time.
You're gonna be. I'm not gonna stand up to play.
It's a solid VR game, honestly. Yeah. I think I played through the last mission in VR, and I'll never forget. I had the AOA limiter, which disables the controls so you can do flips. Totally unrealistic.
Yeah.
But I pull it. I'm in VR, and I managed to come within inches of touching the ground in a flip, and then pull back up.
Wow.
I'm just like, oh my god, I can't do that again. That was so cool.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even recording it.
Oh, no. Well, people don't like to watch VR that much anyway.
I mean, I could watch Wingman in VR, because you're seeing the same thing that you'd see with me as a controller, using my control stick to look around. Instead, it's just my head.
Oh, okay. I can't watch other people play VR either for the queasiness factor.
Like all the videos I watched about Wingman were in VR, and it just looks the same as in controller. Just instead
if they're keeping their head still, sure.
Yeah. Well, your head's going to be still, or it's going to be moving around looking at planes, which is what you do with the controller anyway. After Mission 11, every single track just becomes bangers. Every bit of soundtrack, or the entire game's soundtrack, no one track's bad. They all fit to the mission.
Yeah.
From like this chill midnight raid music to this national anthem as you're liberating the capital city.
That's really cool because this is not like a AAA game, right?
This is an indie game by 3 people.
Really?
3 people developed Project Wingman,
Wow.
and they produced something capable of competing with an Ace Combat game.
That's wild. Yeah, because Ace Combat is legendary.
And this, based on what I've seen, this was the composer's first game.
Wow.
And he blew it out of the park.
Bright futures.
Bright futures. I think they're kickstarting an airplay now about planes.
Oh, okay.
Him and the writer.
That's cool. Project Wingman. I'll have to check it. I got it in the...
And mods are cool too because I modded it so I could put anything on any planes. And there's swarm missiles in the game. You're supposed to only have 1 of them.
Uh-oh.
I had 3 of them on 8 hard points.
Yeah.
I just pressed 1 button and the plane went burr.
I got this game on Humble Choice and I've been like kind of wanting to check it out.
It's a really stellar game.
Yeah. Pretty much any game like that has a VR mode is worth checking out in my opinion. So.
Even outside of VR, it's still great.
Yeah, I'll probably do most of the gameplay out of VR because the queasiness.
It does get a little orange though.
Yeah. Like literally?
Literally. The nuclear missiles produce a lot of orange. So anytime that happens, there's just going to be a lot of orange and interface screw.
That makes sense, yeah.
I hear it's bad in VR, but it's not bad if you're not in VR.
Okay. Yeah, so my game I've been playing this week is Halo Infinite. This week being like a month because we haven't recorded in a while.
Halo Infinite.
But Halo Infinite, it's extremely good. Like people are whining about the UI and stuff and like the progression, but the actual gunplay is one of the best first-person shooters I've ever played.
It's very fast and snappy. Mike disagrees clearly.
I disagree.
Well, he's wrong.
I mean, I played the Fiesta mode, and I've noticed that there's like 4 good weapons.
Well, yeah, if you're in Fiesta mode.
Garbage.
Yeah, because Fiesta mode's not balanced.
Like, even in normal gameplay, there's only 3 weapons I'd like to actually pick up.
I could kill anybody with any weapon in this game, except for the Mauler, I think it's called.
The plasma carbine sucks.
The one, no, it does not.
The skewer is nice.
The skewer is extremely good. The plasma carbine is good, but you're not going to get a kill with it. You're only going to break shields. Then you got to switch to something else.
I just break my shields with my fists. That's like 90% of all gunfights in Halo.
The fun part about a gun is you can shoot from range with it. Like,
yeah, I can use an assault rifle.
Yeah.
But I've also been playing Halo Infinite like multiplayer, and
it's
all
immaculate.
about it. Yeah,
it's so much better than anything in the MCC. Like,
I just didn't.
I could never go back to the Master Chief.
I don't have any nostalgia for Halo multiplayer, so this is just like
me neither.
It's just,
I do have nostalgia, and it felt like an improved,
shooters.
like a faster Halo 3 to me.
I'm gonna play more Deep Rock.
I have zero nostalgia for Halo, and this game. Like, I expected to play this game because the people I play games with were gonna play it.
Yeah.
I did not expect to be like excited to play this after work, like most days. Like this game's really fun, and I am dying. I haven't started the campaign yet. The campaign is out as of recording right now, but I've just been busy, and I am so excited to get into that. Like,
I haven't touched it. I've looked at it. I've played it. Didn't enjoy it. Went back to Deep Rock.
Nah, I think it's probably my favorite multiplayer shooter. Like second to like Titanfall 2 maybe. Like, I really like this game.
I mean, so let's just put it into context, right? Like, the big shooters that came out this year.
Yeah, Vanguard was bad.
Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Which we thought would be bad, and it is bad. Battlefield, which we thought would be good, is bad.
Pretty bad, yeah.
That's a Battlefield on launch.
Yeah, it's like totally broken.
Yeah, but then Halo Infinite, which, like, by any metric, this game, like, I thought it was going to be bad. I thought it was going to be broken because it got delayed, and like stuff's still getting delayed. The game's still not fully out.
Yeah, it's not fully out, but
what they put out there is so good. My only complaint really is there's not a ton of maps, and that but it doesn't hurt at that. I mean, coming from somebody
not a ton of maps, and like the lack of playlists, I think hurts it too.
The lack of playlists hurts. Yeah,
I do. My criticism is of the weapon variety being flat.
I just don't agree.
There's a lot of weapons that do the same role.
Like the cinder shot and the sniper rifle?
And one's clearly better than the other.
I disagree. The sniper rifle, you can kill 2 people in quick succession. The skewer, you're going to get 1 kill and then you're stuck reloading for like a minute.
Yeah,
I also think, more to me...
Yeah, but it's the only thing that can kill vehicles that well.
Okay, so even with the argument that the weapon variety isn't great,
I feel about, like, the ballistic weapons, like the commando and the battle rifle. I'd just rather have the battle rifle.
I'd rather have the commando.
No, I'm like the battle rifle is perfect in that
Battle
game.
rifle's
Like
perfect.
I love that.
It's
thing.
good, but
Yeah.
I will pick up the commando if I see it. Like
It's yeah. I was gonna just say that the way the
shotgun doesn't feel good either.
the way the
shotgun's a little
game
weak, yeah.
Shotgun's way too weak.
the way the guns control
semi-auto, but
Yeah,
immaculate.
The gunplay is
Yeah.
amazing.
It's,
It sounds good.
It's way faster. It's interesting because like the kind of deliberateness is something I've always associated with Halo, but the fact that they've sped it up here, like they've even sped up like your base movement speed.
They
Yeah.
didn't speed up the gravity hammer though.
No,
That
the gravity
thing
hammer's real
feels-
slow.
I
I mean, it's supposed to be slow. Yeah,
It wasn't that slow in Halo 3.
Well, if you want fast, you pick up the energy sword.
it was faster in
It
Halo.
was a
3,
lot
yeah.
faster in 3. I was way used to the 3 one where it was
pretty quick.
But if you
not as quick.
Like
As the
I don't know,
energy
yeah.
sword?
Like if you think
I mean,
about it
it's
kind of
still- here it's
logically,
like-
yeah.
I'm still good
Oh.
for 10 kills if I pick up a gravity hammer. Like,
You gotta use it as an ambush weapon now.
Yeah.
You can't just rampage through people with it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
well, I think that's
Ball's
good.
dead.
So, and one thing I
yeah.
definitely want to highlight here. So, going into this, I was extremely skeptical about the grappling hook.
Oh my
The
god, it's so
grappling hook
good.
is freaking awesome.
Getting an
Like,
energy...
it's
yeah.
really like, that and the repulsor are the only two good bits of equipment.
I don't know if they're the only good ones, like,
They're the best
as far
ones.
as winning,
Yeah.
but they're the most fun, for
Yeah.
sure. Like, the grappling hook,
like
I am
the
going to
threat
pick it up every
sensor,
time.
I'm
I
not
remember the
gonna use that
first time,
in
like we
Yeah.
saw Halo Infinite, we saw grappling hook. I was like, oh, they've ruined it already. Like
No,
I
it's
wrote it, I wrote
so
it off.
good, though.
It fits so well. It's
No,
and the
yeah.
versatility with this with the hook is just crazy. You can use it to get weapons from across the map. You can use it to hijack banshees flying over your head.
Grab a
Like,
player.
Dude,
it's
grab a
it's
person.
really good.
Something insane you can do in this game, if somebody throws a sticky grenade and it sticks to your gun, you can throw the gun down.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
little things like little interactions like this keep propping up
Yeah.
in this game, and that just makes it, like even more impressive.
Now, having the reflexes to put the gun down and run away, probably not going to happen. But
Yeah,
you can
you have like
do it.
it has to be like within the frame you get stuck probably, you know,
Yeah.
like
But yeah, just the fact that that's even a possibility. I've been excited to talk about Halo.
it's one of
Infinite
those
on the
games.
show.
So I played it on Series X, and I tried both the 60 and 120 hertz modes. I think I'm gonna stay with 60 because 120, while like the fluidity is unbelievable, like a little too much is lost in terms of like the resolution and the detail for me. And the game just looks so
See, I've been-
clean, like it just.
See, I play that thing on 120 hertz.
I've been playing at
But I'm
144
on
because
PC.
I'm playing ranked, so I need those frames.
Yeah, I still haven't tried ranked. I've done a few quick play, and I've enjoyed what I've played. Like I'm impressed.
I don't like the fact that I don't get to choose what modes I want to play.
Yeah,
That's
that does.
that's the worst
That's
part.
the worst part of this
Because I am
Like,
so
think-
sick of like I will pick up the game and I will get oddball back to back to
Yeah,
back.
even
and I get really mad.
even before they do anything to the progression system, they need to do playlists. That's
Yeah.
the most important thing.
Because like I don't think the progression's that bad. A lot of people are whining about
I
it.
do
but-
want like points in game to matter more.
Yeah,
than
that's
they do.
fair.
They don't mean anything. They're just kind of there as like.
Yeah, 343 was solving a problem that they didn't have yet, and like it's solved too. Because like having limited playlists is a way to make sure that none of the playlists are empty, right?
But they
Yeah.
didn't have
Typically,
the problem yet.
yeah, they didn't have that problem because they made a free to play
Brand new
game.
game.
Yeah, they made a free to play game, zero barrier to entry other than having a console or PC. So like, there's a bunch of people playing this game. There would have been no empty playlists.
Oh, it's Halo. It's a big name too. It's not
Yeah.
like this is a indie game that just released.
So it really feels like they were trying to solve a problem they didn't have.
They
By
were trying to avoid like empty playlists,
especially because it was like a solved problem. Like the Master Chief Collection had amazing options in that
Yeah.
regard. Like you could make your own playlist of game modes that you were cool with
And then
playing.
you just get thrown into the matchmaker, and it's like, hey, you want to play
Yeah.
Capture the Flag only? I play Capture the Flag.
Yeah, Capture the
Yeah.
Flag is Capture the Flag is so fun in this too.
Capture the Flag is probably the
One
most
flag
fun mode.
is the worst mode. I do not like it, but all the others are fun mostly. I get sick of Oddball.
Oddballs could go. I
I don't
care
dislike
for
it,
yeah.
but it really bothers me sometimes because like you can lose really quickly, but it still takes a long time for the match to end. You know,
Yeah.
like it can be over long before it's over, and that's really frustrating. But yeah, it's a good game. I like it. I'm gonna play it this weekend.
I'm excited that it's already like this because they'll only improve it. Like this is.
Oh my god,
343 is
Forge
all
isn't
in.
out yet.
They're all in on Halo Infinite, right? They're
Yeah.
not going to be doing anything else for a long, long
Yeah, this
time.
is quote unquote the Halo platform for the next 10 years.
Yeah, so like it's only going to get better from here, which is very exciting.
yeah.
All right, have we talked about everything?
You haven't.
I have one more game, which is why I wanted to ask. Okay. So I, like everyone knows, like past month or so, I've been pretty AWOL, haven't really been playing many games. I did play Halo Infinite, and I did play Metroid Dread.
Oh, yeah.
And Metroid Dread, let me tell you, is an incredible video game. And this is coming from someone who, this is my first Metroid, really. Like, I dabbled with Super Metroid a little bit, but I never really meaningfully played it. But, like, I played Metroid N from beginning to end, and it is just an immaculate 10-hour experience, you know, like culminating in a final boss, which is pretty freaking tough.
It's hard,
Yeah, it's I was kind of surprised, and like Metroid Dread, don't get me wrong, is not an easy game, but to someone who like
a lot of the boss fights are pretty hard.
Yeah, but to someone who plays like Sekiro and like the Souls games, it wasn't like. I never got frustrated, you know, playing Metroid Dread. That last boss, though, is another story. I would argue the last boss is on that level.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I would quite say that, but I play a lot of platformers.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like it took me like multiple. It took me a few hours.
As someone who's done some of the Pantheons and Hollow Knight,
you know? You're a real gamer. But.
Excuse me, God Gamer alert.
Yeah, but just the progression in that game, like just they obviously the genre is called Metroidvania for a reason, right?
Yeah.
But like. Just
a reason you just learned.
Yeah. But the progression in that game, just the feeling of becoming more powerful, Samus getting more and more added to your arsenal, and then just at the end you feel like an absolute god, and you go against the final boss who is also an absolute god. And and the story was neat and everything. Obviously, this being my first Metroid game, I didn't really some details were kind of lost on me, but like I think it serviced the game perfectly. And I do want to highlight, I know you've talked about Metroid Dread before on the show, but like the Emmys were really sort of neat. I think towards the end they might have worn out their welcome a little bit, but it was such a cool idea.
My love of the Emmys was revitalized when I did the sequence break playthrough that I did, where like it really changed a couple of the Emmy encounters because of the different tool set I had.
But I do think it's really cool how so the Emmy is basically like there are these invincibles enemies that hunt you down, and if they catch you, you have basically 2 small windows of opportunity to escape, and I think the second one is literally like frame perfect.
Yeah, and they're also it's not the same frame every time.
Yeah, it varies. You have to react to it, which is just wild. But like basically, if they catch you, 95% chance that you're dead.
Unless you're like a speedrunner.
Yeah, so you have to really sort of be like cognizant of these things, really stealthy, and like dodge these things. And what's really cool is, like obviously you never want to encounter one of these things, but as you become more powerful, the Emmys also become more powerful. They become faster. They become, like, able to, like, stun you through walls and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
one of them can see you through walls.
Yeah, which is just, that was wild.
Yeah.
Like, basically, as soon as you enter the room, they see you, and you just have to get to the end of it before they catch you. And it's just the ways they sort of vary the Emmys and, like, make them escalate along with you keeps them always interesting, I think. Until, the end of the game. But, like, all in all, like, Metroid Dread, I would say easily the second best game I played this year, probably behind Returnal. But, like, obviously a contender for first as well. Like, it's one of the best games I've played this year.
Extremely
clearly.
good game, yeah.
And with that, I think we will conclude. Just wanted to say, this has been our longest episode yet, and this is our first and probably maybe last time doing this in person.
100 years game talk.
Yeah, 100 more episodes. Yeah,
well, we'll see you in 5 more years.
Yeah, but like it's been great. Like I really never thought that we would get to 100 episodes.
I mean, most podcasts fail out after episode 3.
Yeah, but we had no fail conditions, so
that is right.
I mean, but it's just awesome to have like something where we can talk about games.
No fail condition. We just forget about the podcast.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Which we did.
We did do that for a year. Yeah,
there are sometimes that we just forget about it.
But like
here we are.
I mentioned this to Connor earlier, but it's just so amazing having this outlet, right? Because like video games aren't like a topic of conversation that come up in normal conversation, really. But
not on the level we get into.
Yeah, but like to be able to talk with 2 other people that really sort of appreciate games and like are willing to go deep into the minutia of them, I really can't express how much I appreciate that. So
I value the different perspectives. And
thank you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I played devil's advocate for Halo Infinite this year.
Yeah. Someone's got to do it.
It made me mad, but somebody has to do it.
Someone has to do it.
Someone either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
I'm still trying to rack my brain as to what game I was going to say as my last game that wasn't Age of Empires, but
it'll remain a mystery forever.
I'll wake up tomorrow.
Mike, I can't.
Extra Life, I remember.
Can't believe episode 100 was your heel turn.
It really was.
This was the 100 episode character arc. He was he was on.
And the next 100 episodes of the redemption.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's to 100 more episodes. Thank you guys for listening. As always, you can follow us at Ad Podcast Game Talk on Twitter. You can like, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, any podcast service you use.
If you listen this far into the episode, you should really join our Discord.
Yeah, please join our Discord. We have some people there, but we're always, we always would love to see more of you join the Discord. And yeah, we can chat there and maybe discuss some future topics. But for now, this is Game Talk, episode 100. Thank you all for listening.
Signing off.
Yeah, signing off.
I distinctly remember as a kid, like, my go-to strategy was to, like, just dig into the hole in the wall. And, like, I wanted to play the game.
But that didn't get caught.
It absolutely got caught, Mike.
For sure. That's our credits. Yeah, he's gonna go listen to this. He's like, what's going on? The anti-nausea pills.
Yeah, on Danzatron. I like ASMR there. I said it.
That's I don't know whether it's me busting ass. This.
That was nasty, dude. That smelled so bad.
I thought it was gonna be silent, and I'm like, it'll be fine. I'll just sneak this one out.
There's no way that the mic didn't catch it.
I really hope it did. I really hope I go to the end of that podcast and I just hear,